Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, as it is that of Sunday night racing on Freaky Fast for the MPI Cup Series, as it is Season 5, race number 3 here tonight, and it is going to be a good one as we are at Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas for all of these drivers, where it is the city and the desert, as the MPI Cup Series is ready for racing action. As tonight at Las Vegas, it's that of the SK Sim Racing 300 for that of 200 laps here at the mile-and-a-half course of Las Vegas Motorsports. Excited to be giving you all the coverage. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall, and Robert Moyer is going to be running productions here tonight. Zach, race number 3 of the season, and it's been dominated by just one driver, but tonight it might change. Las Vegas has been a handful all week long for all these drivers trying to tackle this course this week.
Handful indeed, Sam. This track has been very complex for a few drivers this week. Just talking to a few drivers out there about how this track is handled. It's been very tough, as they would say in a team such as Darlington. But yeah, very snappy loose down there in 1 and 2. We'll see if anybody has issues down there. Also down in 3 and 4, I've seen a few issues here in practice. So it seems like that car can step out from you at any moment. But again, like the question you said coming into this, can Austin Reedy, who's won the first 2 races, come back and win again here tonight for 3 races in the road to kick off the season? That would be a great way to stamp his season, and a great way for a rookie to do it too, as a new name that's building up here in the series, Sam.
He has honestly been shocking the whole entire MPI Cup Series with the speed that we've seen from that of Austin Reedy. Again, like we noted on, he's won the first 2 races of this season, trying to go for 3 in a row, and he's also has the most laps led in both of those races. So he's got 2 different titles he's going to be trying to carry here into Las Vegas. As practice is over, qualifying is now underway for the field. And Zach, this is so important for these drivers. I mean, you can talk about it a little bit more than I can. Qualifying track position here at Las Vegas.
Yeah, this place is going to be stacked up. You know, we've seen this car have the ability to make some passes. We've seen people drive through the field at Auto Club last week. But here at Las Vegas, I think we're going to see a little bit more of a pack style race. We did see that style race still at Auto Club, but not as side-by-side as, a little bit of contact to the outside wall there for a qualifying lap. But this track here is, like I said, it's going to stay more packed up, more like a super speedway, I believe. It'll be later in the runs, if we get any long runs, to see if anybody can actually break away from the field. But I think due to that draft, you're going to see everybody stacked up, so qualifying up front is going to be important because there's going to be no room to go. If you're stacked up 2 by 2, sometimes 3 wide, there's really not many lanes for these drivers to be able to make moves to go forward. So qualifying up front will be a key way to stay out of that trouble, as drivers are going to be trying to move their way through the field.
As we see the 43 on screen, that's going to be Sean Kalis on screen for himself. Going to be starting up the warm-up lap for this machine to get the lap going. Currently top of the board going to be that of Mario Miranda in the 99, which Miranda going to be a big driver to watch out for. As Zach, we were looking at some of the previous stats. The 99, what an incredible season he had that for season 4. But we looked at the stats overall. Mile and a half was not the strong suit for that of Mario Miranda.
No, indeed, it was not. Always seemed that luck or some type of deal that always, kind of, like I said, all those luck deals where you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time on the bad end of the stick. It seemed like that for the 99 because he showed a lot of speed. He led laps in those races, just never really had the finishes to go for him. But Auto Club last week, we've seen he had a wild race, had to start all the way from the back. So he had to drive his way through the field, but he was able to get that top 3 finish after having multiple moments of sliding and losing that race car. Here tonight, already sitting on top of the board, that's going to be a great place to look from the field is, Shane Wyatt there in the 71. Major incident there going down the 1, and that just shows you how fast this car can step away from you and how big a hit it can be when it does.
Luckily for the 71, already have finished up the 2 qualifying laps. Going to be 7th currently on the board, as we're going to be seeing that of the 11 here on screen. And Zach, qualifying, we're getting close to halfway through qualifying, and a factor that we always have to touch on, especially being at the desert, is going to be the heat for these drivers, as it is very hot still on track, and also ambient temperature pretty hot as well. So these drivers going to be dealing with the heat. Kind of surprised, ambient temperature only that of 69 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's the track temp 109 with a 4 miles south wind speed. So not a lot of wind speed to deal with, but it's that track temp that everyone's going to be worrying about.
Yeah, definitely. Also, that low humidity, a very dry heat out here to at this racetrack here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and that 109 track temp. That is nothing to play with. That is definitely going to be what these drivers struggle with the most. And like you said, for it being 69, that's a very hot temperature, and that's mostly due to it being a completely clear sky here. No clouds out there to take any shade off this racetrack. It's really only the billboards, the grandstands that can take any shade away. As we'll see who can continue to lead the times. As again, Mario Miranda still up top. Nobody able to take the top two spots with Steven Stippy there in second, but Richard Swaveley, he jumped up to third. Then Ross Harlow, our defending champion, he jumps up to fourth.
Ross Harlow's interesting story that we're going to touch on a lot throughout the night. He actually has been very consistent when it comes to mile-and-a-half tracks during season 4 last season, where the 5 got his championship. But since the new season of season 5 has come around, Ross Harlow's been having a major struggle as he is finding himself all the way down to finding himself 37th in points. His best finish this season was at Daytona with a 29th place finish, but some other drivers that are looking for some good finishes as well. Justin Winters in the 88, clocking in that first lap, that second and final lap. The 88 moves up to 5th.
That's a great job. Many people put down that first lap as their fastest lap, so to see him go quicker on the second, very impressive there from Justin Winters. And we're already seeing a little bit of discrepancy from those practice times in qualifying, about a tenth slower than our fastest time we had seen from earlier into qualifying now with a 30:22. Earlier ran a 30:13, so almost a tenth of time there gained from just being in a pack in the draft. So times will pick up when we get going here with all these cars on the racetrack, but it's gonna be key to see who can make their tire wear last as those speeds pick up here, Sam.
All on screen is going to be the 51 as Zach Wilson. And Wilson, after that first lap, going to be 14th on the board. And I've been wondering how the driver's going to be attacking here. I've seen, with the way that this tire model works, it might be even better for these drivers to really try to put down a slow lap. As finishing it off, Zach Wilson does a little bit of a squeal as top of the board with that final lap here tonight, 51. Excited with that.
Oh man, that's a burner of a lap too. Just we had Mario Marin and Steven Stippian who were kind of a majority away ahead of the field there on Richard Swaverly. Now Zach Wilson goes and puts 300s between him and Mario Miranda. What a time from him, and one of our Final Four contenders. He showed a lot of speed last week at Auto Club. Got taken out of that race pretty early. He's going to try to bounce back here tonight.
As we're going to be seeing on screen, it's going to be that of Charles Phelps in the 75. Another rookie out on track, and Phelps trying to go for his best finish. Last week was one of the drivers that came away with a surprising finish of 13th. Last week at Auto Club, it was all about fuel strategy runs. Might be something else for us to worry about coming in here tonight at Las Vegas, as these drivers are going to be running 200 laps. There are 3 stages. Stage 1 going to be on lap 45, stage 2 on lap 90, and then we're going to be racing it to the end for that final stage, as the top 10 will get stage bonus points. But that's the big thing, Zach, is we've seen Daytona kind of turned into a wreck fest late in that race, but last week at Auto Club turned into a long green flag run that it came down to fuel strategy for some drivers and some great finishes that they had.
Yeah, I mean, look at no farther than Alex Muscarella, who ended up in that top 3 due to saving that fuel, and we've seen a few others who really gained from that also. But the driver that won that race, Austin Reedy, he had to make the big decision to take 2 tires. We got to see, maybe does that come even into factor here tonight? Do we get a run short enough that they know that they're going to have to pit, but they know that, at the same time, they don't need as many tires? And it's really going to come down to, Austin Reedy. He made that call on the fly. He noticed that the left side tires weren't wearing much. He heard that from his crew. He took that information and applied it. And, man, it's been impressive to see that so far. And, we'll see if he puts down the time. He is yet to do that in the 96 machine. So he must be waiting out the clock here. He's pulling off the pit road now.
We'll see how well he wants to do, as we got the 2 of Travis going to be on track. And really, for a lot of these drivers, they're just trying to come back in. So this is still early on, only race number 3 of the season. So there's still a lot of time to be gaining back. Yes, you might have had for some drivers, 2 bad weeks in a row. It does not mean that you can't come back, and a win certainly can change a lot of these drivers' momentum, but qualifying slowly ticking away as we've got ourselves a minute and 20 seconds left. If you're going to put a time down, you got to get out on track. Otherwise, you're going to be starting in the back and just going in blind for some of these drivers. It's coming out of turn number 4. It's going to be the 2. Travis comes across the line. It's going to be staying up to 14th for the 2 after that qualifying. Some other drivers popping up. That a Chris Shoemaker going to be moving up to 12th, but the man of the hour, it's Austin Reedy on track for the final attempt. 50 seconds to put down the fastest lap for the 96.
Yeah, we'll see if he has enough time here to get the full 2 laps in here, but right now also had Alex Muscarella jump up the 3rd there, Sam, from his top 3 finish at Auto Club last week. Great way to start that off, and we'll see what Reedy has here. So he'll be coming to that final lap here and see what he can produce.
Will this be the fast lap for the 96, or will it be the next? 27 seconds down. This is the only lap that Austin Reedy's going to be able to put down, and it's 21st for the 96. This is going to be a struggle, Zach. You do not want to be mired back in traffic, especially with the way that this aero package is here at Las Vegas. We're going to stay on board with Reedy, but there's 10 seconds left, and it just might be too far for this machine, but it's going to be close. Coming out of turn number 4, 3, 2, 1. Not close enough, as the time is not going to count.
Yeah, he was within almost 100 feet there, and that's going to bring the end of qualifying. Just mistimed it there for the 96, and that is going to burn, Sam.
Gonna be a tough pill to swallow, but doesn't mean your race is over. You've got 200 laps to see what you can do. For Austin Reedy, he's trying to go for 3 in a row to start the season off. And here tonight on Freaky Fast Broadcasting for the MPI Cup Series, let's take a look at your qualifying results and where they lie. Get in the pole position. It's going to be that of Zach Wilson in the 51. Second goes to Mario Miranda, with that of Alex Muscarella. Going to be trying to go for another pole position for the 48. With that of Steven Stimpian in 4th, Austin Shoemaker in 5th. Richard Swaverly going to be finding himself in 6th position, with Ross Harlow in 7th, Judd Danielson in 8th, that of Lawson Peel, Justin Winters finishing out your top 10.
In the 11th position, it's going to be Dakota Curtis. Alongside him, it's going to be the 4 of Austin Shoemaker. 13th, it's going to be Ray Rogers. Beside him in his row for the 14th position, it's going to be Joe Sanchez. The 31 of Daniel Holcraft's going to start in 15th. Alongside him will be the 2 of Travis Stevens. 17th is going to go to Brian Curry, with 18th place being the 27 of Kip Easley. 19th is going to go to Shane Wyatt, and rounding out the top 20 is going to 19 of Joseph Mahar.
The man who's been on fire since the start of the season, Austin Reedy, going to be in 21st position, with that James Kunkel in 22nd. Parker Bland, winner of the Clash a couple of weeks back for the 0-1, going to be in 23rd. Justin Henry going to be in 24th, without a Charles Phelps. Chris Progard's going to finish out our top 26, with that of Dylan Hastings, Justin Erb, as well as Jeffrey Ford and Brandon Banks finishing out your top 30.
In the 31st position, it's going to be the 43 of Sean Callis. In 32nd, it's going to be the 7 of Isaac Mox. 33rd, it's going to be Wyatt Brackett, one of our final 4 contenders from last season. 34th, it's going to be the 16 of Garrett Brown. 35th, it's going to be Eric Stanford, had a good run at Auto Club last week, very fast, looking to move his way forward. His teammate there in the 36th position is going to be Spencer Higgs. 37th, it's going to be Shane Pearson at 89. And the 38th, going to go to Daniel Michelle. 39th is going to go to Dustin Reeves. 40th is Warren Kyle Keith. And rounding out the field here is 42nd is Bill Schoonover and Brad Fulham, who finished second here last time at Las Vegas.
A lot of drivers to watch out for. I think Warren Kyle Keith's going to be also another driver further back that is interesting on how he's going to be able to carve his way through. He's done it multiple times at Daytona and Auto Club, but Las Vegas going to be a handful to watch out for. Zach, as we're on the backstretch getting ready to go green, what are some of the factors for these drivers to watch out as in the early going?
Got to watch out for those cold tires as always, Sam, getting those pressures up. These cars are going to be a little bit on edge here to start. Also got to watch about getting over the bumps in 1 and 2. Very bumpy down in that bottom lane. You're going to see drivers electing to maybe take that second lane as the preferred groove, but all night you're going to be looking to see if you can get away from your competition. I don't think it's going to be possible, though.
Going to be tough. Who is going to be able to survive the early going? Will we see an early wreck? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's going to be going green here at Las Vegas for the SK Sim Racing 300. And it's already Mario Miranda, Zach Wilson on the lot pedal, and it's the inside row that really got going. Steven Stimpian stalling out, but into turn number 1, it's side by side for the lead.
Yeah, and I think you're seeing that outside row there be a little bit hesitant here from the start. Knowing Mario Miranda, he needs to get down. He has a black flag penalty he has to serve here and drive through. So it's 3 wide for the lead. This is getting a little scary here. Miranda up top. I don't think he's going to be able to get down there to pit here.
He's going to have to stay high, hoping to not get into any type of trouble, but this is going to be the 99 trying to keep himself with the momentum and the speed as everyone else roaring down the front stretch, and it's going to be Wilson finally finding the momentum, and here comes Mascarella on the inside pressuring on, and it now faltering back. Watch out for the 14 of that Shoemaker. Almost had to be forced 3 wide as up front Wilson, Mascarella going into turn number 3.
And right here into 3, Miranda calling out on the radio. He is pitting this time, having to serve that penalty, and he is coming down the pit road here, and he's going to bring that 99 down pit road, so that's going to be a tough start to the race for him. But right now, Wilson controlling the lead with the push of Alex Mascarella.
Yeah, I mean, Mario Miranda, that is such, I mean, it's that bad luck we were talking about at the start of the broadcast where he's had this poor running of just misfortunes happening, and it strikes once more for that of Mario Miranda. As Steven Stimpian, one of the rookies, has been running very consistent. The only other rookie that's been really beating out this 81 has been Austin Reedy. But you look further back, you look at practice, it's really been that of the 81 that was the quickest. But in the later going, started to see some other drivers trickle up as up front for the lead. Battling is side by side. It's going to be Zach Wilson, Mascarella, and Mascarella is going to be trying to go for the lead on the inside.
Yeah, Mascarella already getting aggressive here, trying to take that lead early into going down the backstretch. He had a nose ahead, but it's the big run off the top from the 51 of Zach Wilson, who's going to have the lead heading into 3. It's a dead heat here through 3 and 4. Looks like the top's going to win out here down the straightaway.
Down the straightaway, it's the 51 of Zach Wilson, but Mascarella certainly keeping it quick. But the driver that is trying to have one of the biggest just comebacks races, it's the 5, Ross Harlow, going to be having that of Judd Danielson on his inside. That's really pressuring. And Zach, for Ross Harlow, this is such an important race to come away with a good finish. Top 10, top 5, you ask for any of those, really. And that's what Ross Harlow wants.
Yeah, this could be the start of his season, Sam. It's been a tough 2 weeks, and really even started in the speed week. So you can pile that on top. But maybe having a little bit of that championship hangover there from last season. But now it looks like he's well into form here already to start this race up to that 4th position from the 7th starting spot. But he's gonna have a little pressure here from a rookie, Steven Stimpian, who's trying to make a name for himself. Had a good run last week at Auto Club, like we talked about, but was involved in an incident while leading that race. Now back up here trying to fight for a top 4 spot.
Trying to cut it into the top 4, but further back off, going 3 wide behind him. Austin Reedy, our biggest mover of the night so far, up 14 positions, and it's a pack back here, 6 on back. They are clustering up, but it's the 96, started all the way back in 21st position, and now up to 6th place.
I can tell you what, Austin Reedy's made that look almost easy. You said, we talked about how tough that was going to be for him to start back in 21st, not getting that time in. But you can see the battling behind him that he's got through, and that's the key. Justin Winters back here in the 88 machine. You also got Chris Shoemaker in the 4, who's battling that 53 of Lawson Pill, another rookie there. But, man, you want to get out of that mix there, Sam, and Austin Reedy's already done that as he's broken himself up to that top 6.
And this track is wide enough on the front stretch to force it 3 wide. And also with the different ways you can attack this racetrack, you can go 3 wide even through the corners. So big moves from Austin Reedy up to 6, like we said. Justin Winters, 8th place currently. And you start to fade even further back. There's just, the drivers are starting to split up from one another a little bit more. But when you go even further back, this is just outside the top 10, 11th place of Lawson Peel. And you can see these drivers single filing out a little bit more, but Zach, we're only 9 laps in. When are you expecting the drivers that are being patient with their tires to really start advancing?
Yeah, I expect to see that really around lap 15 to 20. This car seems to, that happens pretty early in my opinion. So we'll start seeing when people can start to make moves, but look at this, the 4. Chris Shoemaker back here at 13th. He's trying to make the very, very top work there as he's on the outside of that 77 of Brian Curry there for that 12th spot. And already seeing multiple grooves here throughout the field and, some spreading out, Sam. I'm a little bit surprised. I figured it was going to be a little bit closer racing here, but at the same time, they're breaking away in almost packs of, 6 or 7.
Yeah, just little pods and groups. It's can you get through that group and then attach them draft ahead? And if you don't, I think you're more so going to be seeing drivers stalling out. But behind this is Chris. Shoemaker is you're seeing some drivers that are side by side. That's going to be finding the 71 Shane Wyatt as well as Brian Curry. And oh no, ahead of him, it's Austin Shoemaker. And back into the groove. There's nowhere to go. Peel and others as they're scattering, wrecking. There comes the yellow. And just like that, Zach, with the pack racing, a big one strikes, and everyone still scattering to get by Austin Shoemaker.
Oh, man, luckily the field makes it through there for a majority. But, man, right around that group, it all started around that 14, and it was calamity, Sam. Almost, you can say that's the mini-big one here for the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, as all them cars kind of got collected there. And, man, that tough break. The driver who likes that the most, Mario Miranda.
Mario Miranda is going to be able to get back attached to this lead group, but this first yellow aggression, we were seeing it there, Zach. I mean, Austin Reedy was being aggressive. A lot of other drivers were being aggressive, but this instant replay, what brought out this yellow? Watch out, the 14 and the 18 of Ray Rogers make the contact in the entry of the corner, and then there's nowhere to go. The 14's on the brake, but that car is on its own and drifting in front of the field.
Yeah, major incidents there from multiple cars there. And, you know, that just like two race cars going for a similar spot on the racetrack. I think the 14 of Austin there, he's thinking, you know, he's coming down the racetrack trying to stay off that wall, trying to get a good angle for the corner. While at the same time, you got the 18 of Ray Rogers, who's thinking he wants to track up in the corner there and get the best turn in for himself. And he thought the 14 is going to be higher. And that's, like I said, two drivers going for two different places. And, oh, you can see there as everybody gets through. You know, the interesting thing, Sam, is, you know, we see a lot of incidents there as we'll see that instant replay there again from those two hitting. But you see these a lot of incidents where drivers come in late and those brakes, you know, people can't get slowed down. And really, you know, I've been doing a little bit of research in these cars. You got to keep the brakes warm. If the brakes are cold here in these cars, they do not stop very well.
See that one of Dakota Curtis, who's also kind of had a misfortunate start to the season for the one. He was hoping for a better start here, and 14 hard into the outside wall. And looking at the drivers that are forced to come to pit road, Austin Shoemaker's the only one there, but there's a couple more that decided pit road is where they want to go to get damage repairs done and maybe even top off with fuel. As it's going to be Daniel that of Holdcroft as well as Daniel Michelle. Those two are going to come in and just top off, but Ray Rogers, Austin Shoemaker, Lawson Peel, Jeffrey Ford, as well as Chris Shoemaker and Shane Wyatt all in pit road getting repairs done for their vehicles. That's going to be putting, like we noted on, Mario Miranda. He is now back with the lead pack, hoping that he doesn't have another drive-through to go through.
Yeah, definitely don't want to have no more of those for this race, but he's good to go now. He'll be back with the pack, and that we'll see how fast he can navigate his way through. I mean, a giant field, of course, here tonight of 42 cars, but already some cars hurt that he should be able to navigate by pretty quickly. But we've seen already Austin Reedy. I mean, he got to the top 5, you know, in the opening. I mean, really in these opening, 13 laps here, and that's pretty amazing from 21st. So we'll see if anybody else can have some progression like that. Justin Hendry, he's went up from 24th to 11th. Parker Bland, even 23rd to 12th there. So a lot of guys moving on up through the field, even Chris Krogart. So seen a lot of movement actually already.
Yeah, a lot of drivers have either gone up 10 positions or more, or you've fallen over 10 positions further back. But up front, it's still Zach Wilson and Alex Muscarella. They're the two that are still where they qualified, and they're hoping they could stay up front in the top 3. That's where they want to be. Judd Danielson, though, 85, a little bit of a shocker in my eyes on how well he's been running, but has shown in the history. We've seen the 85 be able to be quick at these mile-and-a-half courses, so I'm not completely surprised, but with some of the other drivers that have been consistent, hey, we'll see what Judd's got for those that are up front with Wilson and Alex.
Yeah, we'll see what they indeed have, Sam. We saw the front 7 really break away there at the start. Now we'll see if anybody else can do anything in their power here to try to get with that group as that pace car's going to come in.
Pace cars coming in. Again, we are in stage number 1. Lap 45 is the marker for our top 10. They want those bonus points, and you got to make sure you're up there as drivers are fighting. Pace car is off, and it's time for our first restart here for the SK Sim Racing 300 at Las Vegas, and we're green, and already it's going to be Wilson taking the good gap lead over that of 3 car lengths, but it's side by side for that of second place.
Yeah, and Danielson, has no help down there in the 85 machine, but the 48 going to try to go around the outside, and Muscarella for that position. But Harlow back here, he's got Reedy and Stippian who's battling here for top 5 spots, and it's going to be the run from the outside that's going to prevail.
Steven Stampian able to get the draft on the 5 of Harlow, but through 3 and 4. Going to be single file out for our front 4. Then it's side by side. Austin Reedy, Stampian. Giant credit to Reedy, and we just cannot stop praising as it's been a shocker for a lot of us. But up front, Alex Muscarella diving it down low with a very nice turn into the corner, but it's off the exit. Zach Wilson with the better positioning and the launch down the backstretch.
Yeah, I've noticed that with Wilson. He's been very much willing to give up the bottom there in the 1 and 2 on those bumps. And look at this move from Judd Danielson. He's going to stick it to the inside of the 48. That's going to really slow both of those two down. Let Zach Wilson get a little bit of breathing room. Here comes Harlow from the top, though. He's got a big run as those two slowed each other down. Now the side draft trying to slow each other down.
But just like how we noted on with Wilson having a different entry, that goes through everyone in this field. That's what brought out our first incident of the night, is 2 drivers side by side, 2 different entries into the corner, and it brought out a yellow. Good that happened here up front, as Wilson, that of Danielson and also that of Harlow, they have been on top of one another. They've got to be careful. There's plenty of other drivers on the exit of the corner where they squeeze in. It's the exit that really starts to terrify where drivers might be at as we're riding on board with that of Ross Harlow and getting a sense of what it's like for the 5, as he's now trying to figure out how do I attack that of the 48 of Muscarella ahead.
Yeah, we've seen the outside be kind of the way to make passes now, as you got the 85 Danielson back behind this here, struggling on the bottom. But Harlow, he's going up top, trying to find air and get as much pace here off the exit of these corners and use this draft to his advantage here, as he's going to try to close the gap down. But gotta say, Zach Wilson has done a great job up front.
Really has. Zach Wilson got the pole position, has been staying up front, showing how important clean air is, as we have an onboard camera of that of Ross Harlow on your bottom right, and also get to see what the wheel action is in the sim as we're right in the cockpit of the 5. Ross Harlow, season 4 champion from last year. And also, Zach, you can see in the mirror, it is still side-by-side racing behind the 5.
Yeah, side-by-side racing behind him is Austin Reedy, trying to keep the track position that he has gained, that he drove up through the field with, and now it's going to be side-by-side behind him with Judd Danielson, who was on that front row there, Sam, now has dropped back into the clutches of Brian Curry, Richard Swaverly, Justin Winters. And you got to think this may be a little bit of tire wear kicking.
Yeah, a little bit. Just watching these drivers right now, it's our top 12. They're all attached with this lead pack. Driver that's all the way back is going to be finding that 11 of Justin Hendry, as well as that of Kunkel, who's going to be just lingering now. But this of the 19, Joseph's been quick, went back a lot, looked at the previous Las Vegas race from last season. It was back, they were running in the Gen 6, but gotta say for the 19, really put down a couple of laps, that of over 10 laps led here at Las Vegas, so he knows how to get up front. But the key is, can you work your way up front with the way that we've been seeing these tires really making it difficult, as well as the dirty air seems to be the hardest thing on why these drivers are struggling to make passes, especially now that we're 21 laps in on these tires.
Yeah, you can see all this group here searching for any bit of air and any bit of grip they can find right now, as Bahar, he's had that 32 of Swaverly on his door pretty much throughout the whole entire corner. Is the 32 big run down the back straightaway. He's got nowhere to go, though, because Danielson's there. He's going to cut in between both of them and go to the inside here to make the move. This is going to let Mahar maybe have a little bit of clear room to slide up top, but Danielson's been the one that's going backwards.
And we're going to move up and watch our top 5, because they were thinking about 3 wide for a moment for 3rd place. But up front, here comes Zach Wilson on the outside trying to defend, but a power move going for the slide job. It's that Muscarella, and he's going to try to drift up and block the 51's run out of the corner. He's going to be boxed in. Austin Reedy now up to 3rd.
Yeah, Reedy here, he dropped back a few spots after that restart, now back up into these top positions. And again, showing why he won the first 2 races here. Very, very good driver here as he's worked his way up to this 2nd spot down the bottom line. And Muscarella, first time somebody's really been able to take control from Wilson, who's had control out front. And I tell you what, a lot more of a stack up here also, the top 12 right here within a second.
We saw Wilson trying to pull away, but that yellow and the timing of it coming out around lap 10-ish was not a helpful time for these drivers that were aggressive, trying to pull away at the immediate start of this race, as Austin Reedy been aggressive and continues to stay so. But behind them, you got that of Brian Curry, a driver that's up that of 11 position. Started back in 17th. He's cracked into the top 10, trying to get into the top 5. And you're seeing drivers, they are searching for the grip. And because everyone is searching even up front, it's allowing this pack of 12 to still keep it pretty racy, but they're also pulling away even though they're side by side for that of over 4 or 5 rows deep.
Yeah, everybody trying to race right now is snipping on the bottom of the 81. You got Brian Curry, like you said, 17th up to the 6th position. Richard Swaverly, he qualified up there. He dropped back pretty early. I think he's been saving his tires. He's looking to come forward here right now as the momentum is shifted to that 32 machine. He's broken into that top 5.
These top 12 drivers, they keep it close. They're still racing hard. And see that watching of Richard Swaverly. And Swaverly, I mean, he's always up front, going to be a contender to watch out for. Just been under the radar of drivers that we feel like could win these races. But, Zach, I got to say, this 32, there's obviously a little pressure of expecting at least 1, maybe even 2 wins this season with the speed that's underneath this 32.
Yeah, I expect it. I tell you what, I got firsthand experience of racing with Richard, a great driver himself, and he's always been one to watch out for, and he's great at saving tires. He usually is doing that, so I wasn't surprised that he dropped back there a little bit, and it's now drove his way up into this top 5 as Wilton, that leader, is starting to drop back as we look back here throughout this group in the 18th spot. Dakota Curtis, his car got fixed up pretty well in that one machine after that incident.
Also, here's Parker Bland, who's going to be also searching for some speed. And these drivers were involved with, trying. Didn't have the best qualifying for a lot of them, but Mario Miranda, driver for us to watch out for. Again, he had to come into pit road under green flag and do a drive-through penalty for the 99. Found himself off pace, got the caution that was needed, and now for that of Mario Miranda, he is trying to climb. Right now, stalled out in 22nd position. But certainly, he's stuck in a pack that's trying to move forward, but he's kind of boxed in on the outside. He's going to have to force it 3 wide if he wants to get moving, or just be careful that he's not caught up in a big one, because these packs that are side by side, anything can happen, as it's practically super speedway type racing at 1.5 miles coursing. Going to be 3 wide coming across, trying to see who's going to move and crack into the top 20.
Yeah, big moves there by Miranda. He's trying to go forward as fast as possible there as he qualified up near the front of the grid, and now being able to work his way on that top groove. That's something I haven't seen anybody be able to do yet, is use the very, very top of 1 and 2. A little bumpy up there, but 3 and 4 is such a smooth corner up top. That outside line rolling very well. Miranda using it to his advantage. Now he gets to the back bumper of the one of Curtis up top there. And I tell you what, he's moving forward in that 99 machine.
Trying to work with everyone possible, not trying to throw their race away, but trying to keep the speed as high as it can be. As we're on lap number 30, 15 laps to go here in stage number 1. Top 10 get bonus points. But these drivers back here just trying to crack into the top 20. They're racing like this is for the stage win. As Parker Bland gets onto the apron on the entry of the corner. That's not where you want to be. The 0-1 holding strong. And Zach, this is the cluster driving that is always here at Las Vegas. Even with these older tires, the field keeping it close for that of 16th all the way back to 26th.
Oh, man, it was almost 4 wides for moments there, down to the 3. Dakota Curtis on the bottom there. As you can see back from the deck lid of the 24 machine here, you can see Dakota Curtis there struggling, dropping back. And, man, he was doing a great job with that damage, but I think it's starting to kick in now as he's in the middle of that pack, too. They're dropping like a rock. And I tell you what, this racing has been great back here in the 20s.
We got to move up front, though, because there's big moves up there as well as in the middle of the pack. As up front, it's your champion from last season, Ross Harlow, taking the lead for the 5 after some brilliant passing between that of Muscarella and Reedy that were trying to go side by side. A little bit of a bump out of turn number 4, and it gave us that of Ross Harlow the opportunity to cut through the middle, and the 5 now into the lead point. But for how long? As we're on lap 32, coming to the start at 33, and Austin Reedy, Muscarella, they're fighting back once again on the straightaway. But Zach, it's the apron. Drivers are trying their best to cut down as much of this course, but it seems like there might be a little bit of miscommunication on who wants to go on the apron and who doesn't.
Yeah, I think Muscarella thought that Reedy was going down there. He cuts him off and puts him on the bottom of that apron there. And Reedy now dropping back like a rock on the inside line as everybody stacks up there. You got the 51 of Wilton. You got the 32 of Swaverly up top there. And now, I tell you what, that move Harlow made, Sam, though, that is one of the best moves I've seen. And that makes me want to be out here racing with these guys. These guys out here putting on a show.
They certainly are. Last season, Ross Harlow, he's got to still be battling, and this is also for that of the battle for 4th place that we see on screen. But for Ross Harlow, he found himself to victory lane at Charlotte and that of Chicagoland last season. but it was in that of the Gen 6. We're now in the Gen 7 car, and we're seeing these drivers still be quite racy up front, and they're putting on an amazing run on where they want to place themselves. But Zach, I think the aggression certainly is now starting to pick up because of them knowing you need these bonus points, especially for Ross Harlow, who was, again, coming into this race 37th in points and has not finished inside of the top 25 at all this season.
No, he needs this. The 5 needs every little bit of anything he can get. And right now, you got Steven Stippian, another rookie, making a show. He drives up the second past Muscarella there down into the entry to 3. But, man, Harlow, like you said, this is everything for him, saying it's been a tough season. It's going to be 3 wide for second down into 1. It looks like Rudy going to try that move again up top here. It's going to be Steven Stippian in the middle. He backs out of the situation, I believe, is no. Still on the quarter pin on the 48, but Stippian going to lose 2 spots there off of 2.
But Stippian's going to enable the draft. He's now following Reedy, and there's that major run to try to cut down. Wasn't clear, but you could tell for Steven Stippian, he wanted to dive down and try to do a slide job move on Reedy. Was not clear the 48, and here comes possibly your crossover move, and there goes the 81 down onto the apron, trying to get a little bit of the sniff of the draft from the 96. Not able to get it as there goes that Alex Muscarella surviving for another lap as we are ticking these laps away. Again, lap 45 when stage 1 is over. It's our top 10 getting those bonus points, and Zach, there's another group joining into this lead pack, and it's going to be our biggest mover so far. That's going to be Wyatt Brackett cracking into the 11th place.
Yeah, you can't look too far either. Eric Stanford there is also closing in on this group. So we're going to have some battles here for this final spot in the bonus points for the stage. As Wyatt Brackett, like you said, he's driven his way from 33rd all the way up to 11th, along with Eric Stanford. Behind him, 35th to 12th. These two driving through the field, and right now closed up to the pack, and they are now within those stage points up to 10th for Wyatt Brackett.
They're trying their best to keep up the speed, but that last lap fastest driver in the top 10 going to be the 48 of Alex Muscarella, and he's going to be doing his best as we're seeing the drivers trying to crack into the top 10. Up front, still battling for the lead. Austin Reedy, he wants it back as he's going to be side by side with that of Ross Harlow.
Yeah, Reedy tried to get back to the lead where he's got those 3 wins already this season, and now, man, close battling up front there. As look, the 48 going to go with the 5 of Harlow, push him by Reedy, and that's going to push Reedy back here on the bottom lane. And that bottom lane is tough to go forward on. You got to make the pass happen when you get it done, or that outside lane tries to train you.
It's the 19 that I'm keeping my eyes on, though. Joseph's got some speed, and he's been lingering. Fastest driver that last lap this go around. It goes back to Muscarella as the fastest driver. But our top 5, they are quick, and they're recognizing it's go time to be seeking up front, and you're starting to see drivers fading. Is there enough time for Wyatt Brackett to catch up? Because that 10 and also the 11, they've been fast drivers, but they're back around that of 7th and 8th, about 1.3 seconds back. But it's our top 5, technically our top 6, you could say, all within a half a second of our leader. And it's time to run it down, Zach. 5 laps to go here for stage number 1.
You have 5 laps to get points and get as many as you can. As Mahar was looking inside of Stippian off of 4, he gets super tight, washes back here. Now Brian Curry, who was in the 17th starting spot, he's driven his way up to 6. And I tell you what, this has been a wild race nonetheless to say. Big movers throughout the field. But we're going to be coming to 4 to go as Reedy trying that bottom lane. Looks like he's going to clear for the lead here and take the lead with 4 to go on the stage. What does Harlow do? Does he cross him back over, or does he go to the high side?
Austin Reedy found his way winning that stage number 1. We thought maybe it was going to be a stage win curse going to 96. Well, he's trying to win another stage here, this time at Las Vegas. But Ross Harlow needing every single point. If he doesn't win here tonight, he at least wants to have the most points gained in the 5. Got to be careful, not going to be in the draft. He loses 2 positions. Might you lose that of a 3rd, but going to be up front. Austin Reedy feeling good and comfortable as Alex Muscarella going high, trying to search for that speed on the straightaways, and I think he might have got it. The draft looking strong for the 48. He's got the major toe coming down into turn number 1.
3 to go on the stage. Muscarella looking high there. Or sorry, 2 to go, I believe, in the stage is Muscarella looking high there is Harlow. He's going to go back to the bottom and try to get it done and see if he can get anything here, but pit lane is closed. No driver is able to pit here, Sam. It's getting down to the end of the stage. Can Muscarella make something happen? He's going to look high here with the help of Harlow.
He's going to have one more lap to do it, coming to what would be the white flag of stage 1. is going to be that of Austin Reedy, that of Alex Muscarella. Ross Harlow going to be your top 3 as Muscarella goes high the draft, going with the 48. Everyone else also going to go to the high line, but it's going to be searching for different runs. To the outside wall is the 48. Middle goes to the 5, and it's Austin Reedy, who does not have any draft help, lingering, and what a pass from that of Alex Muscarella.
What a beautiful one it was, Sam. Here's going to be coming out of 4 here. Reedy, one more chance here. Gets to the door. Not going to have enough, though. Muscarella going to take it out of 4.
Just a small little tap, but it's going to be the 48 of Alex Muscarella coming across the line. And just like that, they continue to race on. The yellow flag waves. And it's going to be Muscarella taking stage number 1 here tonight for the SK Sim Racing 300 here at Las Vegas.
What a drive from him there. I mean, started in the top 3, kept it up there the whole time. Hey, and didn't have to use fuel mileage this time, Sam, to be up in the top 3. He's going to look to stay up there as we seen Reedy win last week's stage 1. He's now Muscarella's going to win stage 1 here, and it seems like stage 1's a good one to win if you want to win that race.
It really is, as here is your stage winner, going to be out of Alex Muscarella. The other drivers are going to be getting stage points. Ross Harlow, Austin Reedy, Steven Stimpian, that of Joseph Mahar, as well as that of Brian Curry, Justin Hendry, as well as that of Wyatt Brackett, Zach Wilson, and Justin Winters going to be finishing out your top 10. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll give you updates. Who's out of the race? Who's still in it? And will there be a different stage winner for stage number 2? All the answers will be given as we'll be back in just a few moments.
There is Max Papis in the Ferrari. As great a race as Ferrari has ever won.
The steering wheel for me has always been a sensitive spot. There's a whole experience there that we're all trying to refine. Max Pappas, he asked me one day, he says, what can I do in a wheel? I said, well, with the new
is that I own MPI, the steering wheel company, and I'm building the steering wheel. This is my creation.
This is yours.
Yes.
It's sexy.
The steering wheel, it's a very unique thing. It's shaped on the hand of Scott Dixon.
His hand.
Yeah. This grip has 27% more grip feel than suede. Scott in the race is gonna make less effort when he drives. When you're in the car, it's like having 40-pound dumbbell like this, maybe more in the car.
For how long?
3.5 hours. You know, average heart rate in the car, never below 150. Never below 150. You need to be a real athlete to drive.
Yeah.
They exercise every day. So this is my creation. Amazing. And we did.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the MPI Cup Series, race number 3 of Season 5 here tonight for the SK Sim Racing 300 at Las Vegas. Stage 1 in the books. It's going to be going to that of Alex Muscarella. But there is some news further down on the list. And Zach, an unexpected moment for some of these drivers. The 91 of Eric Stanford has gotten removed.
Yeah, out of this race he is, and not going to be competing no more for tonight as the 91 machine is he'll be back in that 40th position because right now Lawson Peel and Austin Shoemaker, other 2 drivers out of this race after stage 1, Sam. And yeah, three drivers down, but 39 still out there, and 39 of them still in the lead lap. And gotta give good credit for those guys that are on the lead lap still, because man, we had some hurt race cars that could have possibly been looking to go laps down. But they stayed on the lead lap there during that stage, and they're going to try to salvage what they can here tonight. Because I tell you what, we might not have seen the last of our yellows. This car very tricky to drive, and at any moment it can snap around on you.
Well, we also seen a lot of give from these drivers. There's been a lot of moments where the aggression, if someone's knowing, hey, this is 5 laps to go to win the race, I think there's some moves, a little bit more door banging that might be happening here tonight. But of those big drivers that were involved in the first accident, brought out our first yellow here tonight, biggest mover of them all going to be Ray Rogers, who's up to 16th. The next driver that's up going to be that of Daniel Michel, going to be back in 27th, and the rest of the field, they're still trying to get repairs done. Again, Lawson Peel and Austin Shoemaker involved in that first wreck. Too much damage. Did not feel like they could drive anymore, as there are no fast repairs in this race. Whatever damage you get, you're dealing with for the rest of the night. So 53-14, they have called it a night with that of Eric Stanford. Going to be removed from the server. And again, we'll wait for confirmation on the exact reasoning why, but very odd to see the 91 gone. A couple of drivers, as we are going to be having a total of 39 on the lead lap. And Zach, it's time to see what these drivers can do for stage number 2.
Yeah, see what they can do, Sam. That was a great run there during that last stage that these drivers produced, and we've seen a lot of good battle. And like you said, though, a lot of good give and take. Nobody really trying to do anything too crazy and put themselves out of this race, where there's plenty to go. I mean, long race here is still left, and plenty of time for these drivers to make their moves.
Who's going to get it done? As it's going to be Alex Muscarella, Ross Harlow, Steven Stimpy, and Austin Reedy, as well as that of Joseph Ma, and also going to be seeing that of Brian Curry, Zach Wilson, Justin Henry, as well as Justin Winters. And Y bracket going to be your top 10 currently, with that of Spencer Higgs back in 11th, biggest mover of the night, up 25 positions. As the green flag is out, it's time to see how stage number 2 for the SK Sim Racing 300 goes. As they're going into turn number 1, it's going to be top 4, single file going into 1 and 2.
Yeah, single file out for that front 4, but it's going to be Brian Curry and Joseph Mahar in the 19 balancing side by side for the 5th position. On back is Zach Wilson, our pole setter, trying to make his way back up to the front.
Wondering if Zach Wilson's going to take any notes from that first stage of maybe being patient. And we got to see a little bit of drivers really making their search forward. Hendry and that of bracket really were the ones that made the biggest moves, and they fell all the way back to that 15th and were able to crack into the top 10 there late. See how well they can do. But a driver that is on the move and on the go, and some kind of surprising to see. It's going to be Mario Miranda back into the top 10. The 99 is moved up to 7th, and also another driver going to be off track going sideways. It's going to be Austin Reedy, who had troubles faltering and now going to be falling outside of the top 10.
Yeah, Reedy just getting a little bit loose over the bumps and now going to drop back, like you said, outside that top 10. It's going to be a tough climb back up for him, but we'll see what he can do here in this 96 machine. Zach Wilson going to be on the outside there for that 9th spot. Wilson had a big moment also. He almost took a 3-wide on the apron, caught the grass, and had the slide. His little white bracket up ahead of him also a moment.
It's going to be coming out of turn 2. The big issues for these drivers, they're trying not to just throw their race away, but it is so easy to do so when you're trying to make these big moves. A driver that started all the way practically in last. You see on the inside, it's the 42, Warren Kyle Keith, trying to get past that of the 8, Dylan Hastings, and Warren Kyle Keith started all the way back in 40th position, and now going to be up that, and just seeing 42 climbing up 26 spots. Great job for himself. Again, for the drivers that maybe are trying to search and gain their way moving forward, that stage 1 was just a little bit of a taste in the feel of, okay, how much do I need to be aggressive here? And now stage 2, you'll put it all on the line, see if the recipe works. Right now we're starting to see 42 and the 99. Biggest movers so far here tonight. But it's Mario Miranda. He's now up to 4th on our ticker board.
Yeah, Mario Miranda has been one of the biggest movers and for sure one of the most aggressive passers out there, utilized in the 3rd lane. And you can see drivers back here really only utilizing pretty much the 2nd lane. Miranda has been the one that I've seen really take it all the way to the wall in 1 and 2. We've seen drivers do it down in 3 and 4. As you see Harlow here as we jump up front. Miranda there now in that 4th position there. He's closing in on the bottom lane, but down here in 1 and 2, I've seen Miranda make multiple passes on this high line. We'll see if he does it again, as he's got a little bit of a run here heading down the line.
Miranda's going to do his best, and you know what? He is finding and searching for everything. He's one of the drivers. We saw this from Muscarella, and it was later in the run, all the way up to the wall. And Zach, we saw the 99 doing this last week when we were watching that of Mario Miranda on the fact that he was searching for that high line at Auto Club. And he's going to be doing it once again, but this time in Las Vegas, and it seems to be working a lot better. And Austin Reedy Great recovery for the 96. He's also coming back in the mix. We're side by side, riding on board the 81, a Steven Stympian who's trying to stay in that third place position.
Yeah, you can see Steven there. He's going to be 3 wide on the bottom here for a second. And you'll see here really having to think about this situation. Nice, calm, and cool collected there. But he's going to be still 3 wide here as they enter the corner. Morinda going to clear. Harlow now 2 wide there for that third spot.
And they're going to try it one more time. Ross Harlow getting back into the throttle so much sooner. Gives a little bit of a bump to that of Morinda. Morinda up to second. He might have got a penalty. Lap 1 had to go into pit road under green. Fell all the way back to last. Got the caution that was needed. Mario Morinda carving his way through stage 1. And now in the middle of stage 2, he's up to second. And he wants that lead position.
Yeah, he was the fastest man in practice too. So he is showing that speed that he's had here all night. But Reedy trying to make the pass on Steven Stympian behind, while Morinda trying to check down Muscarella for the lead out front. And, you know, we've seen Wilson, like you said, did he learn something from being out front for so long early in this race? He's back in 9th there. But, man, we'll see what happens to Muscarella. He was not the leader for majority of the last run. We'll see if he fades in this run or does he hang on to it. And that's just a common trend for Wilson in that 51 machine.
Biggest mover so far here tonight going to be in 6th place position, Spencer Higgs, as they're going to be still figuring out where Reedy, Harlow, and that is Stu Stympian want to go. But you see the colorful machine of the No Bull Racing, a team that has struggled at finishing the races, but they've been quick during stage 1 and 2 of that of Daytona and also at Auto Club. And it's going to be the 90. He's now climbing his way up in the top 5 and up 31 positions where he is, trying to make it 32 if possible.
Yeah, Spencer Higgs again showing speed at their Auto Club. That No Bull Racing team, they showed it there, and showing it once again with one of their drivers here. Spencer Higgs has driven himself, like you said, from the 36th position up to this top 5, and up ahead of this, Morinda now getting some trouble as Steven Stympian is going to look to his outside for the 2nd position. As Morinda got the 2nd, hasn't been able to do nothing yet with Muscarella, who our stage 1 winner since he's got to the lead. He's been in kind of control, and it's kind of similar to what we've seen though with Zach Wilson. He controlled for a while up front, and then the drivers from behind really started to attack about 20 laps in.
Fall back to number 18, that is Ray Rogers in 14th position. Biggest mover of the drivers that were involved in that first race accident, and got a little bit of damage between himself and that of Austin Shoemaker during that wreck. But the 18 running well, staying in the draft, and hoping to just slowly march his way forward with this group, and doing a great job. We also go even further back, Kip Easley in 18th, and just seeing the pack further. They've lost the lead group on the draft, but Zach, they're still in their own little pockets and pods of one another. They're trying to make it as many big moves as possible.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it, Sam. You know, little pods of cars out here. You know, it's definitely groups of them, and you kind of battle within that group. It seems like once you get to a certain extent at a run, and you can see ahead of Kip Easley. I mean, it's just straight battling going on up ahead of him, this 27 machine. So, and right now, he's running for the 18th position. So this is really that battle from 10th on back to him. So he's got a pretty good view of that, while that front pack is trying to still pull away from this group here.
And also, as this group has been battling on, the 42 of Warren Kyle Keith, again, who started all the way back in 40th position. He's been doing a great job, and you have to pick and choose and hope the lane that you're following is going to be the lane that moves the fastest and going to stay on the high side. And watching that, also Garrett Brown, another driver that didn't have the best start, fell pretty much all the way back to second to last in the early going. As Garrett Brown, he's found his way of becoming a champion here in the MPI Cup Series. He's open to have a better run here tonight in 16th and 12th position. Just has to gain a couple of more spots, and he'll be into the top 10.
Yeah, he's really been gaining on it too, along with Warren Kyle Keith there. So those two going forward, trying to make their progression continue on, and they both showed pace at Auto Club. So again, two tracks that are showing a little bit of similarities with drivers that move throughout the field, and they got to be happy with that. As right now they're catching up to Joseph Mahar here, who's in that 10th spot. As this group about 3.2 seconds back from our lead group of Alex Muscarella in that group. So right now, not too far off that top group, but right now running pretty similar times. Actually, a little bit quicker was Mahar the time before, but this time losing about a 10th. So right there with on pace with our leaders, but you got to be able to gain if you want to be able to get back up to them.
They're going to be 2.8 seconds back, and they've done it before. They did it at the end of stage 1. but they're going to have a lot of time. Again, lap 90 is going to be the end of stage 2, so drivers are aiming for the best, but up front is lead pack. It's a train of where you want to go, and it's going to be that of Mario Miranda leading the outside pack, the outside groove, I should say. The rest of the field, they're debating, do we go low, do we go high? Really, it's hard to tell where you want to go, as the 99, I'm concerned on the tires for that of Mario Miranda. He's been so aggressive, and also I'm getting concerned with the battling that's going on between that of Higgs and also Reedy. Those two have made contact multiple times in the past 5 laps of just a little bit of a door bang in the center of the corner. That 90 and the 96, they've got to be careful, otherwise they might see their race being ended, and the streak for Austin Reedy could be coming to a close.
Yeah, that can very easily end your race, Sam. Like you said, you got to be careful with those little door bang moments. You know, it's only stage 2. I know Reedy wants to go up there, get the most points, lead this race, and take control of it, because that is really the key here, is taking control of the race. And right now, Reedy's stuck on that bottom lane. I'm sure he doesn't like that right now. Is Shane Paris there holding Spencer Higgs, holding that outside line, really able to make work of it, as he's going to slide up behind Miranda. And yeah, Miranda seems like since he's got up there, Sam, he's kind of held up this pack. Looks like Stimpy and Muscarella, they're trying to do their best to pull away. They're wrecking there.
Miranda as well is going to be seeing Ross Harlow contact in a blink of an eye. Just 2 different entry points as well. Higgs going to be involved. And just like that, Zach, we knew the potential of up front wrecking, and they did it in an instant through 1 and 2.
In a blink of an eye, Sam, it goes from battling for a top 3 position to right now these drivers are going to be looking to maybe salvage a top 30 here tonight. That is a tough deal to swallow for them, and a tough one, man. But right now, like I said, stage 2, a little too early to be maybe battling as hard as these guys were, side drafting like they were, and that's what you reap what you sow, I guess you could say.
They were so aggressive up front, and just, I mean, again, it's kind of very similar to how the first accident of the night that brought out our yellow, how it happened. Entry of turns 1 and 2, right at the same spot, Zach. I mean, right here, right when drivers are trying to pick and choose how you want to enter the corner, and Harlow just comes up too high, trying to get as much space to come back down low, and gets into Miranda. Higgs nowhere to go, and those 3 just pile into one another.
Oh, that is a tough deal. And if you're Ross Harlow, this is exactly what you didn't need. He got good stage points there at the start. Now, 3 races in a row, Sam, just to start off his season for our champion, has not gone his way. And I mean, look at drivers like Miranda, who's worked their way up. It's a tough break, man. And then even drivers like Spencer Higgs, kind of just really nowhere to go for him. Wrong place at the wrong time.
Well, this is now going to change things for drivers that are up front, as now we're going to have the field think about splitting this. Who comes in, takes tires, who doesn't. And, man, it's just one of those moments, Zach, where you could tell the field, they knew it was hard racing. You had to go for everything you had. You had a big enough lead over that second pack, where that was 11th on back. They were not even battling for points back there, but up front, everything you could grab. Miranda as well, I think, for that Ross Harlow. There's the pressure is coming in. There are 2 drivers that made it to the Final 4 last season, and it was Ross Harlow that took away the victory of the championship. Miranda was one of the heavy favorites. He had 8 wins last season, and now both drivers, I mean, Miranda had a great rebound last week, and he's had some good finish. He had a good finish at Daytona, but this is not the way you want this here 70 laps in at Las Vegas to go. There's still a lot of racing for these drivers when they come across the line. 130 laps still in this race.
Oh, plenty of race to go, Sammy. We're nowhere near halfway even yet. And I mean, if you're a driver like Austin Reedy, who was right there in the middle of that battle, Brian Curry, I mean, you got to breathe a sigh of relief, man. That could have been a lot more major than it was. Luckily, it seemed like those 3 guys, when they hit, they all kind of stuck together and all stuck up there to the wall. If that could have bounced and went different ways, we could have been looking at our top, really from second on back, drivers just completely washed out there. I mean, we even had a few guys battling 3 wide behind that, still battling while they come to the line, and they had to squeeze the 3 wide by the wreck. And I'm just surprised we only had 3 cars even in that. So good job on the rest of the field there to make it through that, but just a tough ordeal there for those 3 drivers involved. And Harlow, he's got to be definitely that's just a tough way to start the season. But again, you got a long season to go. He's a champion for a reason. He can make it up for that.
Yeah, still a lot of racing for these drivers as this season, it's just only starting. Race number 3 next week, going to be at Phoenix as well as Atlanta. Then Coda going to be the next couple of races, and they'll all be here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. So if you want to keep up on the MPI Cup Series, hit that subscribe button. And also for the chat under this caution break, and this is our second caution of on-track incidences, and we have a total of 3 with that of the end of stage 1. But for the audiences that are watching, who are you rooting for, and how many cautions are you feeling like we're going to be having in total here tonight? Because we're not even halfway. The aggression has already been shown up front. We know it's only going to just ramp up from here. So how many caution flags do you expect us to have? And we will... It's up to you. You can make the decision of if you want to add the stage cautions. It's going to be at least 2. We've already picked up 1. We got 1 more to go. How many more are going to be tallied up? And also, when we're under this commercial break and the driver's getting ready, gives us time to talk about some of our sponsors. That at Advanced Sim Racing. If you're looking for not one of the one-stop shop hubs online, go to Advanced Sim Racing. It is the best place to go for making a rig, getting yourself a chassis. Also, they're all online from North America. Great places to go. You can get your wheel monitor. You can get yourself so many amazing products. It's practically the eBay one-shop hub for that of esports and sim racing in general. Go use our promo code FreakyFast5 to get yourself 5% off at the end of your purchase. Thank you so much to Advanced Sim Racing for being a part of us at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Zach, we're getting ready to go green. Muscarella, Stympian, they didn't take tires, but some drivers back in 21st, they did. And it's time to see how well they can move through this field.
Yeah, this is going to be a true testament here, Sam. This is going to show what tires mean. What can you do with old tires out front? This is going to get a little mixy.
Well, up front, it is still Muscarella, Stympian, Curry, Reedy, Winters, Wilson, Brown, Maher, and as well going to be seeing that at Bracket, and Joe Sanchez, your top 10. As the pace car rolls off, it's time to go green once more here for the SK Sim Racing 300 at Las Vegas. As they're roaring down the straightaway, it's going to be the 48, but it's side by side for second place. Curry, Stympian down into turn number 1.
Great battle for that second spot. Curry, I mean, what a drive for him. 17th now, trying to fight for the second position. You also got to think Justin Winters back there in the 88 machine. Big moves they'll be made by Zach Wilton here. He looks to the inside of Austin Reedy there for that top 5 spot.
Going to be seeing the drivers still side by side, trying to make sure they're in a good spot for themselves. Lap 90 is when stage 2 will come to a conclusion unless a yellow flag waves on lap 85 or so lap 85 to lap 90. If a yellow flies before then, we will go, and that will be the end of stage number 2. For the drivers up front, they want to keep it clean and green, and Alex Muscarella, Curry, Stympian, they're keeping up with the speed, but it's side by side of Wilson and Reedy that I'm really curious about. Wilson, been patient for a while. We'll see how well he can climb through, but some of the other drivers around here of the top 10, they're getting racy, almost 3 wide constantly back here. And Zach, the question is, who can crack the top 10 and stay there with these older tires?
Yeah, right now the older tires firing off really well. Really nobody making big movements with the new tires. And looking even at the lap time, Sam, we're seeing at almost about 7/10 of time come back in these tires. The leader, Alex Muscarella, 31.41 when we had that caution come out. He starts off this run at 30.72. Just that cooling down phases. They're side by side, 3 wide, bouncing off each other there. Somehow they keep it together. Wyatt Brackett and Garrett Brown up top with Justin Winters dropping down low. The apron, he backed out of that situation. That got a little bit crazy right there.
Oh, and even in the entry of turn 1, it was Danielson who bounces off the wall. Winters gets the worst of it, falling back. But certainly drivers are getting a little bit antsy for themselves. 14 laps to go here in stage number 2, and only the top 10 get those bonus points. That's why they're racing this hard. Recognizing, hey, some of the top contenders that were expected to just make the playoffs with just raw speed, they took each other out, and now it's all up here to see who can get it done. Garrett Brown doing a great job up to 6th and 7th place side by side as we're right on board with the 16. Coming out of turn number 2 and see what type of run he's going to get following the draft in that toe. Just see the momentum on the outside flying. Zach Wilson just lingers on the inside, trying his best to side draft and stay up front.
Yeah, trying to slow that outside line down the best he possibly can is look from the back bumper for that 16. He's going to have that 25 of the 55 of Joe Sanchez there directly behind him. And man, rookie class really showing out through these first 3 races, Sam, and that's got to be scary for a few of these guys who got caught out in these wrecks. There's going to be more drivers here looking to make the playoffs than ever before. And if you're one of these drivers like Ross Harlow, the champion, you're going to need to really turn your season around here if you ain't getting wins.
Also interested on how this lead pack's going to react. You've got a lot of new faces that were battling back for 15th to 12th that are now up in the top 10 that are making some great moves, but a driver that had a fantastic run back at Daytona out of Isaac Mock, going to be lingering back in 23rd position. For Isaac Mock, he's also going to be having that of Dustin Reeves. These are drivers that ran well, but behind him, watch out, it's going to be the one. Curtis holding on through the center of the corner, and Zach, that was a picture-perfect kind of showing of just the snappy, loose sensation that these drivers are dealing with.
Yeah, and it seems like over those bumps is where it's the worst. You go down into one, you go over those bumps. That diffuser that makes all the downforce at these underneath these cars, underneath the floor that they now have on these race cars. That diffuser really gets disturbed by bumps. It changes how much air and how much airflow is underneath that car, really changing the dynamic pressure and how much downforce is being produced. And that's why you see those sudden losses of grip. Is that diffuser all of a sudden unloading itself and you lose that grip, and you got to catch it. And Dakota Curtis did a great job of it here as he's driving up into the mix of this battle here off of 4.
He certainly did, but we're going to move back up to the lead pack because I don't know if they realize that we're in a mile-and-a-half course, because it is side by side all the way through the lead pack as they are really running this racetrack like it's a super speedway. Alex Muscarella is still in the lead group. Steven Stympian has tried multiple times to go down low, not able to find that true speed, but it's side by side from 3rd on back. And again, only the top 10 are going to be eligible to get those points. This lead group, 14 drivers here, still trying to sling their way through as it's 9. Now take that back, 8 laps to go here for stage number 2.
Yeah, with there being 14 drivers in this pack too, it's going to make this very interesting for drivers getting a little bit desperate trying to get those points. But it's side by side for the lead. Stympian trying to inside again up front. He gets a good side draft on Muscarella, and he's going to have a good run heading down to 3. But Stympian out front trying to take the lead there with Reedy looking in between.
The issue for Steven Stympian, though, is he gets a great run coming out of turn 2, but because he doesn't have the draft help going down the backstretch, he just doesn't have the momentum going into the corner. He's going to try one more time diving it low, but this run might be even worse. But a driver that's shocking me and was under the radar but was slowly moving forward, the 55, Joe Sanchez, up to 5th place, and he's running down low. But the runs that I've seen from Joe Sanchez, and he was backing off trying to save these tires for the long run, might be a driver that's going to try to go for a top 3 finish here if possible, as it is still the laps ticking away. Only the top 10 get bonus points here. Lap 90 is the goal for the MPI Cup Series for the SK Sim Racing 300. And the racing's starting to heat up as it's going to be that of Muscarella, Reedy, Stympian, Joe Sanchez going to be your top 4, with Zach Wilson on the outside. Then you're also going to be seeing that of Parrish cracking into the top 10 here in 7th. No Bull Racing. Just you take one out of the top 10, hey, you slide another one up there.
Yeah, and I tell you, we got some new tires coming up into this pack as we continue to watch the battle with Joe Sanchez and him. You got Warren Kyle Keefe in the 42 machine. He's come up here into the battle with the new tires, along with Kip Easley. These two, they've got here so quickly. Once the tire wear started to kick back in, the time started to drop off back out front. They've been kind of stuck here. There's really nowhere to go, and this is what I talk about track position. You know, track position before was getting out of that dirty air. Yeah, dirty air is still a factor, but here more than anything, it's just stacked up. And look at this cool workout, Keith. He gets to the outside line. He finds that 3rd lane and is able to go around the top of the 24.
He's going to be making that pass look easy as that of SKM. You're seeing the drivers, that of the 24. Going to be seeing that of Herb as well as that of Warren Kyle Keith swap positions, but incredible to see all the different lines. 4 different lanes were utilized there coming out of turn number 2 as they continue to just pile on the speed. Warren Kyle Keith now just 1 position away from cracking the top 10. And also for the lead, they're starting to get as well slightly racy as Stympian once more had a nose ahead, wasn't able to take the lead, and it's just Muscarella conquering for now as the all eyes on the 27 and the 42 on where they can place themselves as it's 3 laps to go before that this stage is over. And Warren Kyle Keith saw an opening, and let's go 3 wide.
Oh, man, through the middle there, 3 wide on the bottom now, the 25 of Daniel Michel. There's he tries to work his way forward here in the closing laps of the stage. Everybody jockeying for position. The only person not side by side is Alex Muscarella, who's trying to pull the gap is right now Steven Stippian. He's got the 55 of Joe Sanchez on the inside, along with Shane Parrish coming up in the 89, another Noble Racing car. So right there up into the picture.
Pit road is closed, 2 laps to go. It's going to be that of Muscarella trying to go 2 for 2 for the stage wins, and currently has led the most laps so far here tonight in the 48. Once he got the lead, just showing how powerful the lead draft is. I mean, just having clean air is. But through the field, Zach Wilson's got to be careful. He's got Curry on the back bumper. But we're coming to the white flag here for stage number 2 for the SK Sim Racing 300. Alex Muscarella looks good, but Reedy going to be diving it all the way down low. The 96, he's trying to go for a pass here as they come out turn number 2.
Oh, big move being made, but no draft help here down the back straightaway. There goes the 81, Steven Stippian by. He clears for second, but Reedy again back to the bottom. Joe Sanchez, he looks like he may stick it 3 wide, but no, he doesn't. He follows Reedy in the 96 machine. Here's they come off of 4.
Sanchez thought he had an opening, not able to stick it, but once again, it's Muscarella taking the victory for stage number 2. Yellow flag waves. We've had 2 on-track incidences and 2 yellows for the stage breaks, but Zach, stages are done. This is it. We race it to the end, and we'll see who the drivers can survive. But Muscarella going to be finding himself getting the victory here for stage 1 and stage 2. As all the drivers getting themselves in line, it's going to be that of Alex Muscarella, Austin Reedy, Joe Sanchez, Steven Stippian, Zach Wilson, Shane Parrish, Brian Curry, as well as that of Wyatt Brackett and Garrett Brown. Going to be your top 10. Zach, I gotta say, very impressive by this 48 team on taking 2 stages here tonight.
Oh, no doubt, Sam. I mean, you don't normally see that here, especially with this style racing, how close it is. Reedy tried everything in his power to get it done. Steven Stippian did. Joe Sanchez. I mean, that whole group tried, but Muscarella too much to pull off. And, hey, what do you know? We had to use fuel mileage at Auto Club last week, and here it's all about speed.
Well, we're going to let the drivers go into pit road, have some fun there. We're going to step aside when we come back. We race it to the end. We're on lap 91 of 200. Who's going to get the win here tonight? You'll find out on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
There is Max Papis in the Ferrari. As great a race as Ferrari has ever won.
The steering wheel for me has always been a sensitive spot. There's a whole experience there that we're all trying to refine. Max Pappas, he asked me one day, he says, what can I do in a wheel? I said, well, with the new
is that I own MPI, the steering wheel company, and I'm building the steering wheel. This is my creation.
This is yours.
Yes.
It's so sexy.
The steering wheel, it's a very unique thing. It's shaped on the hand of Scott Dixon.
His hand.
Yeah. This grip has 27% more grip feel than suede. Scott in the race is gonna make less effort when he drives. When you're in the car, it's like lifting, it's like having 40-pound dumbbell like this, maybe more in the car.
For how long?
3.5 hours. You know, average heart rate in the car, never below 150. Never below 150. You need to be a real athlete to drive.
Yeah.
They exercise every day. So this is my creation.
Amazing.
And we did.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting for that of the MPI Cup Series, race number 3 of Season 5 for the SK Sim Racing 300 at Las Vegas. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. Robert Moyer running the productions here tonight. Zach, we're now done with the 2 stages. It's all been that of Alex Muscarella winning both stages. He's looking like the heavy favorite here tonight with that clean air, but different strategy calls have been thrown out here so far.
Oh, yes, they have. Kip Easley and Dylan Hastings here in the 8 machine. Both of those drivers did not pit under the stage caution. They pitted lap 69, and they both took 4 tires and fuel there. So, interesting situation for them. And, an interesting call also, Sam, for that, because from that point of the race there, I mean, you're looking at 130 laps at least, from that, 69, pitting on lap 69. We can really only go 60 laps on fuel. Now they're going to have these caution laps to help, but they're going to need to stretch that fuel tank as far as possible. They need to get to 60 to go if they want to make this race a one-stop. While the rest of the field, this is an easy one-stop race from here. I would be concerned if I was that group, but I think they're banking on a little bit of a yellow flag to help them out with that too.
Yeah, I mean, we've already seen 2 so far, and that was after seeing a couple of good runs for these drivers. I also want to give a note, the fact that our big drivers that were up front, we have the Mario Miranda, Ross Harlow, and that is Spencer Higgs. All 3 of them involved in the on-track yellow that came out, but all 3 of them are on track currently. Mario Miranda is on the lead lap, but he's going to be only mired back in 33rd position for the 99 team. Ross Harlow's 1 lap down, and Higgs is currently that of 14 laps down, but all 3 on track. The only 3 drivers that are officially out of this is Lawson Peel and Austin Shoemaker, involved in our first accident of the day. Eric Stanford, that was removed, and still waiting on confirmation on what was the reason for that. And we might not get that information until after the race is done, so we might have to give an update going into next week's race. But here tonight, the goal, get the win. Kip Easley, that of Dylan Hastings, going to be the 2 drivers on older tires. They were on these tires for that of 24 for Easley, 25 for Hastings. We'll see how well they can defend as Muscarella, Reedy, Stimpian, that of Joe Sanchez, Zach Wilson, Warren Kyle Keith, that a Wyatt Brackett, and Garrett Brown going to be your top 10, getting ready to go green flag racing here at Las Vegas, as it is the SK Sim Racing 300 for the MPI Cup Series, race number 3, and we are green, but a little bit of a stall out on the outside, forcing these drivers to go 3 wide. That was not a good start from Austin Reedy there, Zach.
Oh, and Wyatt Brackett in the grass in the 10 machine, he is on pit road. He's going to have an unsafe exit there to pit road, and most likely going to have to come back down for some type of black flag there probably on that car. Man, unfortunate start for a few group, but Kip Easley able to hold on to the lead here for now as Muscarella was able to get behind. There's 3 wide behind that.
Muscarella did the best that he could do, and oh no, Steven Stimpian gets loose and coming out of turn number 4, still loose, trying to hold on, and somehow squeaking it clear, but more drivers going down into the grass. Zach hits pandemonium out of turn 4.
Oh, that could have been major. Reedy just making it by. I mean, Zach Wilson checking up perfectly, and then Steven Stimpian somehow saves it, and he sees a car coming from behind him. He dodges the car coming up behind him.
Oh, there's the yellow.
Back, and then there's the yellow.
And I believe, yes, it is Jeffrey Ford, the 95, on the inside wall. And it is all gone up in smoke. For all the drivers that initially at turn 4 that had their issues, this is great for them to get back out there. Warren, that of seeing these drivers like this, I mean, Wyatt Brackett, excuse me, who, like you noted on there, Zach, did get a penalty, asked for it to be cleared, and the admins did deem that as an unintentional black flag, and so the 10 was able to get that cleared up, but whew, Jeffrey Ford bringing out the yellow officially, and that was needed, I think, just to calm these drivers down.
Yeah, it got a little wild there. Someone like Steven Stimpian, who lost all that time, he's going to like all that. And we'll see here exactly what happened with this 95 machine. Is what's brought out our caution here tonight is, oh, look, off of 2, Sam, there, similar conditions. Oh, no, to Curtis. Nowhere for him to go.
Dakota just being the magnet here tonight. That is going to be his second. He just being the victim of circumstances there for the 1. And oh, that slam. Very aggressive.
That was a gigantic hit there to the inside wall, Sam. And yeah, Jeffrey Ford there Gonna need major repair damage on that race car, and a few other drivers are gonna need major repair to probably their psyche after all those incidents. There is that's gonna bring out that caution, the 5th one of the night, and 3rd one for incident. But man, drivers like Steven Stippen, he's coming down in the 81 machine who got caught up in that big slide there. Is he was one of the drivers up front. We'll see what his progress is like trying to get back through the field. But even Joe Sanchez, even on pit road in the 55 machine.
Was watching the drivers as we were looking at the replay. We don't have the replay for this incident, but Brad Fulham and also that Wyatt Brackett under pacing, making contact between one another. The 45 getting spun around. It was locked up, being perpendicular to the course, and now going to be all the way back in 29th position. Issues for the 45 that just, I think, a lack of awareness between two drivers that made contact. And now the question of how are these drivers going to react? That yellow, again, only two drivers involved that brought out the yellow. A lot of other incidences. Again, we apologize, don't have the replays of the Steven Stimpian incidences or other drivers coming out of turn 4. But we, whenever yellow comes out, that's when we have that replay. As the drivers up front, it's going to be Muscarella easily, that of Reedy and Hastings. A little bit of a shake-up up front here, Zach, of the drivers on old tires with new.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a shakeup here for sure, with some, Kip Easley still mixed in there and Dylan Hastings. So, this caution here, like I was talking about their fuel situation, this here helps. This really helps them be able to possibly stretch it to that point. And from what I'm seeing already, too, with how wild this race has been and how easy these cars it is to step out, I don't expect this to be our last caution of the night either. So, if it was to go green here from the end, it would be a one-stop race, ladies and gentlemen. But if we get those yellows, that's when you throw in the mixed bag of strategy, and that's going to be for guys that don't have sets of tires. That took that extra set of tires there at that lap 69. They're going to be hurting from that, and maybe drivers like Kip Easley and Dylan Hastings, they're doing this strategy here, so they have that extra wiggle room that these other drivers do with the extra set of tires.
That's exactly what it seems like that they're going for. Again, there are no more stage racing. We race it to the end at this point as we're coming up to the halfway marker. Drivers officially had 5 extra sets in pit road to work with. No fast repairs. And Zach, as drivers are getting ready to get stacked up here, Muscarella, great job getting back up front. And this has got to be a scary scene for the rest of the field, knowing that the driver that has been dominating with the clean air is now going to be in the control catbird seat on this upcoming restart.
Yeah, it definitely changes the game up a little bit. And Muscarella's been the first driver that we've seen get out front and really control the whole stage. We saw, Zach Wilson qualify on pole. He controlled for probably the first 20 laps, and then he really hit a brick wall and went backwards quickly. But right now, Muscarella, he showed it has been no problems. He got to that lead in stage 2, or stage 1, won that stage, got to the lead with the lead there in stage 2, and never relinquished it at that point. So if you're one of these other drivers, you best know you need to get out in front of that 48 if you're going to make it happen. But even in stage 1, when he won the stage, he made a pass very late in that one to get it done.
Who's going to make these passes to get the win? That is going to be the main thing for these drivers to watch out for. Some big movers up in the field. Here's Zach, top 13. Majority of them are up over double digits in positions. The only driver that is not up over 10 positions or more in the top that of 11 is Zach Wilson, who is down 5 positions from his pole spot. So it's incredible to see. And the wreck of taking out that of Mario Miranda as well as Ross Harlow and others, it's completely shaken up where the drivers up front are going to be lying and how fast they're going to be. And also strategy calls going to be throwing in a little bit of a wrench. Who can survive? Who's going to make it through? Pace car lights are off. We wait for that hard turn to the left. There it goes. Pace car is off. That means it's green flag racing here for that of the SK Sim Racing 300. Muscarella on the lot pedal, and gone is the 48.
Great start again from him outside there. It's going to let Hastings actually get up to third there quickly, but Reedy back to the inside there, trying to make quick work of that 8 machine, along with Zach Wilson trying to fall behind. But look at this. Daniel Michelle up to that 6th position in that 25 machine, along with Warren Kyle Keith up to 7th. We got some new players in this field.
Michelle, involved in some other incidences earlier on, going to be trying to make a move. Is a little bit of a whoa down. It's the 19, just going to pull it down low, get out of the way. That's a scary spot with a major pack coming, but they will survive, hold on. The rest of the field has to hold their breath just for another moment.
I mean, Sam, we have just seen crazy movement throughout this whole entire field. We only have 2 drivers. Whoa, and the caution's coming out. Big
and they're
hit.
wrecking ahead, and it's a big one. More drivers piling in later on, and just like that, it's going to be the 71 that brings out this yellow, and Shane Wyatt having a tosser of a exit out of turn number 2, bringing out another yellow here tonight.
And man, this is going to involve some heavy contenders. Joe Sanchez in the 55. He actually spins to miss it and does a great job of saving his car. But the 81, Steven Stimpy involved, Ross Harlow involved, like you said, Parker Bland. I mean, just multiple drivers involved in that one that got some heavy incidents. And there was 2 different wrecks, Sam.
Yeah, there's going to be an initial wreck even in front of this, as you're going to see the 11 get loose, and that's going to be causing these drivers to react. There goes moving up is Brandon Banks, and Banks is going to give a little bit of a scare, gets loose for a second. That's when the 71 just breaks loose here. There's no saving this car at this moment. And Brandon Banks, just an innocent victim. You also see the 1 of Curtis going down low, and then becomes the spinning top is the 71, and everyone else just trying their best to avoid and luckily sneaking on by on the outside. That's a scary spot to be where you hope for the best. And also some other incidences, as you saw there. Further up, there's Parker Bland. Spun out and wrecked, as well as the 31 on top of that.
Yeah, and that all started back there with Bill Schoonover getting into Parker Bland. So, yeah, it got up into the door, put Parker Bland up into the wall. From there, bounced off the wall and hit the 31. And the 31 gets to the 81 of Steven Stimpy. I mean, it was mayhem there. It was 2 different incidents, and we've seen at least 4 or 5 different cars snap loose. One, like you said, of Mahar coming off of that corner. As you see, he's slow here in front of this group as they look to go fan out 3 wide. And here goes Schoonover up the racetrack into the double or the 0-1 of Parker Bland. Nowhere for him to go, as he's going to bounce off that wall. Joe Sanchez here going to do a big slide to miss it, but here's the 31, nowhere to go for him. And up top, it's going to be Steven Stippian and the 81 getting collected also.
Holcroft and Stympian, a little bit of contact into the wall. It's the 5 of Ross Harlow as well, just being doored in, and it just continues. You just see the pile up of all these drivers. Oh, that's a tough one. That's a tough pill to swallow for some of these drivers. And we saw such clean racing, not many drivers having big issues like we're seeing now. But Zach, it's that after the halfway marker where there's not a lot of drivers thinking about, oh, maybe I'll save my tires and just survive these corners. It's all take, and you're trying to get up front as fast as possible.
Yeah, it really is, and this is where we're starting to see drivers drop away. I mean, after stage 2, we still have 39 drivers on the lead lap. Now only 33. We also see Ross Harlow and Steven Stippian pull their cars behind the wall and end their night here at the MPI Cup Series. I mean, just a tough break, especially Harlow running up from earlier, Steven Stippian, another one also. Richard Swaverly, he's out of this race also back in 39, 17 laps down. I mean, just multiple different drivers here tonight that had good pace, Sam. They're now out of this race here.
I mean, if we got to feel bad for Steven Stympian, he was having such a good run up front. Thought that maybe he was going to be a driver to watch out for. But this lead group, I mean, it's Matt Mescarella, Austin Reedy, the 2 drivers that put on a fabulous show of what was going to happen between fuel mileage and last week at Auto Club for the California 300. And now they're still battling strong, and now we're seeing that as Zach Wilson, and easily they're going to be up front. For Zach Wilson, he wants. I mean, that first stage was such a learning for the 51. Just was so aggressive and burning up those tires, and now has been patient, trying to march his way forward. Now up to 4th. See how the 51 is able to really stay up front if possible.
Yeah, I think Zach's figured something out here to keep himself in position, because at the end of that stage 2, he was much better looking than the end of that stage 1. So must have just really used that car up in the beginning of the race, figured out how he needs to be able to conserve a little bit of that to be able to have a little bit more to use when it comes down to that essential part of the race that you have to do that battling. And You know, still one pit stop looming here with the amount of race to go. But, man, what do you do on that pit stop? What kind of, strategies do we see play? We saw a two-tire strategy play out the last time at Auto Club, but that's because that caution came out right on the edge of that fuel window. So so drivers really had to split their runs in half, and 2 tires were viable. I think at this point, something like that wouldn't be very viable. We'll see mostly 4-tire stops, but man, anything is a game right now. And like we said, we've got new people up here. I mean, only in the top 10, majority of these drivers here have started outside the top 20. Only 2 of them there, Zach Wilson and Alex Muscarella, the only 2 that started in that top 10 that are still in that top 10.
Muscarella, as well as Austin Reedy, Zach Wilson, Kip Easley, and Daniel Michelle. And also going to be seeing Warren Kyle Keith going to be your top 6, with Hastings, Brown, Mock, and that of Charles Feltz going to be your top 10. Getting ready to go green on lap 106, getting ready for lap 107. We're going to see who can get it done. Right now, it's been all that of Muscarella. One stage 1, one stage 2, now trying to get the sweep at winning the race here tonight. It's the SK Sim Racing 300, and we are green once again as Muscarella on the lap pedal, and it's that inside row, that little bit of a jam-packed accordion effect of making contact with one another, and it is really gapped up from that of 10th on back, but up front, they're going to be trying to go 3 wide potentially here for second place.
Oh, yes, they are. Kip Easley on the bottom. Middle is Austin Reedy. Zach Wilson looking up top. It's 3 wide down the back straightaway. Reedy a little side drive to the door of the 27. They're going to be a dead even heat down here to the 3. But Wilson going to crowd here, and that got a little bit sketchy down there into the injuries. Wilson now going to take control in second off of 4. But Kip Easley hanging on them, still older tires.
Kip Easley had to be aggressive. I mean, the longer the run goes on, those tires are going to be wearing down further and further. Again, the 2 drivers that are on extremely old tires than everyone else, Kip Easley and that is Dylan Hastings. And riding and seeing some of the drivers that we haven't talked about that much up front as smoke flaring. And there goes the driver down low. Going to be sliding back, going backwards. It's Brandon Banks going to be down into the inside wall. Another driver's going to be low. It's Zach Wilson who loses ground on the entry of turn 3.
Oh, and major slide from a few other drivers up ahead of him. And, man, Wilson losing out major there, dropping back from second. He's going to be outside the top 10. And, man, Muscarella still holding on to the lead, but Chuck Feltner here trying to go forward in the 75.
Oh, the 7 holds on. Isaac Mock again, another driver with a little bit of a shock. And they're going to be all jostling on top of one another. And just like that, Feltz, he's got to be scared for a moment. And in front of them, more drivers getting loose. It's at 17. Hogard holds on. And what are my eyes seeing? It's Mario Miranda cracking the top 10 with that damaged vehicle. The 99 is on the move still, even though that thing is wrecked and destroyed.
I tell you, we keep seeing cars spin like that. He can have a possibility for top 5 at this point. I mean, crazy amount of damage there on the 99, but he's done a great job to stay out of any other mayhem here tonight. But, man, Garrett Brown drops back as the 18 and Ray Rogers goes forward. Damn, we are seeing this track here get unruly. And you know what's crazy is the track temperatures drop a considerable amount. We've almost seen 20 degrees of track temperature drop here. It's 91 degrees out here right now on this track temp. We were upwards of 109 degrees when we started this race.
Well, that's the thing with this new car, is that the rear end, we call it the backload of the car. In the old Gen 6, you can let off the throttle and really just let the car coast. You have to be almost on that of a quarter throttle, half throttle through these corners to make sure that that rear end doesn't want to just throw out under you. And you see more smoke going to be flaring out. It's Austin Reedy who goes through the grass, now going to be losing ground for the 96, as well as that of Garrett Brown having some issues. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a leader, it doesn't matter if you're in the middle of the pack. Everyone struggling out of turn number 4 and out of 2.
Nobody is safe here at Vegas. It's all about keeping the car underneath you here. As you can see, the 89 here, Shane Parrish trying to work the inside of Garrett Brown, but Reedy going to drop all the way back here. That's going to be around the 10th position that he dropped back to, so that's a tough break for him. But like you said, it shows it happens to any of them. And even Zach Wilson here in this 51 machine, he's working his way back up for the same type of deal. So it strikes to anybody at any time. You got to be on top of that wheel and be ready for that car to come around.
And we're also seeing other drivers still with heavy damage with that never give up mentality. but we got to go up front because the battle for the lead is on. A driver we haven't talked about all night long. It's that of Daniel Michel trying to take the lead if possible. The 25, all right, on the back, was side by side, but just the no draft help, it wasn't there. And one of our two biggest movers of the night, it's Michel and Warren Kyle Keith, both for that of Michel up 36 positions. Keith up 37 positions from where they qualified, now up in the top 3.
I mean, what a drive, Sam. This is unexpected. Look at the damage even on the front end of that machine. Not having the greatest looking front end there, but I tell you what, Daniel able to push himself forward here, and now going to be up here within shot here of this lead. And, you know, he got to Muscarella, but hasn't been able to make that happen. World Kyle Keith also here. But I tell you what, this is the first time we see really a 3-car breakaway all night, and they've got about 2 seconds back to Kip Easley in that 27 machine, who's still holding on with those tires that he pitted from lap 69.
And then you've also got another driver that was damaged in our first caution of the day with Ray Rogers trying to make the pass to lead that group. I mean, it is, you look at everyone through the field, and they've all got some type of a bruise showing a battle, and they continue to show off as down to the inside. It's going to be that of Austin Reedy trying to make the pass potentially for 4th place. As they're side by side, it's Ray Rogers, Reedy, Easley, Winters, Hastings, as well as Mario Miranda, all in this lead group, just trying to survive and hoping that maybe they can find a little bit of extra speed to catch up to our leaders. The difference, only 1.8 seconds back. And yes, Zach, that seems like a lot to amount to, but honestly, if our front 3 work with one another and just keep their pace and not wearing down their tires, they easily could try to stay in front of their leaders. As Zach Wilson, another scare for the 51, and this one is hurting our pole sitter.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is, Sam. He's on the apron, actually, and he got into the wall. Major off the turn 4 there. Big loose moment for him, and I mean, he almost rode the wall for a moment there, and he's very slow in the back straightaway, still trying to get that car up to speed, and it's a bunch of damage on the right side. Is now, look at this, Warren Kyle Keith, he's drove his way up there, so great job by him. But yeah, Zach Wilson there, major damage on that car. Our pole setter, tough break after hoping that after stage 2 he might have figured something out.
Now Wilson's just going to drive it into pit road as we go back up for 2nd place, and Warren Kyle Keith trying to make the charge for both of our drivers that are up front. I mean, this was all about, you know, neither one of them qualified. They started back in 38th position for that of Daniel Michel. For Warren Kyle Keith, who's on the inside for the 42, qualified 40th with not putting a time down, and just showing, hey, as long as you keep your car out of trouble, you've got a chance to have a great run, as it is that of lap 119 coming to 120. And Zach, these drivers, they're putting it on the line. They're running as hard as they can. And as the battle for our front 3 continues to rage on, we're going to get ready to crank it up, because it's time to see what these drivers are running with. We're going to do a butt kicker, crank it up. Let's feel what the rumbling is like of these engines and the Gen 7 machines are. Well, that we sometimes what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and we'll just keep that one quiet with everyone here as we're back to racing action. It's Muscarella, Warren Kyle Keith, and that of Michelle going to be your top three currently. Do want to give an update for that of Mario Miranda. Had a very hard contact, was battling up in the top 15, and now going to be all the way back in 26th position.
Yeah, that's a tough break for Mario there, and we've seen how hard he was battling to get back to that spot. But now going to be well out of contention here is the 48 of Muscarella is still in control, but man, Warren Kyle Keith, he showed pace, so much pace at Auto Club, and again here showing it once again, and again driving through the field. I mean, 40th to second. If he's able to pull this victory off, this would be a monumental victory.
Warren Kyle Keith, I mean, he's shown he can be fast at every single racing surface we've been to, but it's finding victory lane that's been one of the harder things for that of Warren Kyle Keith. Right now in second place, running well. Michelle going to be in third. But looking at the drivers on those older tires, going to be that of Dylan Hastings and Kip Easley. They're still in the top 10. But Zach, they might be thinking about pit road here because they've been out there for over 56 laps on tires and fuel. Yes, there's been a couple of cautions, but they got to be careful on how well they're going to be able to survive in these next couple of laps.
Yeah, this is coming up to that window where they're going to need to hit pit road pretty quickly. I mean, I'd imagine with the caution laps we've had here, they're probably going to stretch it around 65, about an extra 5 laps, I'd imagine here. So probably around 65 laps at most. And yeah, it definitely is a tough deal for them because they need to stretch it as far as possible. You need to get to that 140 mark if you're trying to make it to the end of this race.
Big kudos to the 31 of that of Holdcroft, who just gets out of the racing line. He got 55. Joe Sanchez is going to be the last driver in the top 10. But then there's a giant pack behind him of drivers that are hungry, hounding for a good run. And also, Zach, these are all the drivers that just had their spills. All of them in about a 5-lap span that we were just watching about 15 laps ago. All at one point got loose out of in the center of 1 and 2 on the exit of turn 4. And now they're all clustered up in this group of that of 11 back to 20.
Oh, right behind him is white bracket. Actually, Charles Phelps goes around, and that's going to bring out the caution here. Major hit, Isaac Mock.
Oh, and it's Curtis as well going to be involved in Phelps contact. Mock involved in. Talk about the group. Sometimes that commentator's curse comes in a blink of an eye. 7th caution of the night. 5th on-track incident comes out for these drivers. As Zach, this timing of this yellow, this is going to be making things interesting for the drivers. We're on lap 128. They're expected to come into pit road around lap 129, 130. Is that going to be too far out for potentially turning this race into their money stop?
Yeah, I think it's just a little too far, about 10 laps out of that window that they need to be within, and going to be tough. I'd imagine you could probably do 62 to 63 if you saved enough, but that's about as far as it gets. But look at this, Isaac Mock trying to put the side draft on Charles Phelps there, and man, just catches that quarter panel and that sends that 75 around. And look at Judd Danielson just try to get by, and he gets clipped, but actually looks like he may actually take contact with the wall. Yes, he does. There goes Isaac Mock around. Here goes Dakota Curtis. He's going to get clipped there, and for there send him around. Charles Phelps might even make some more contact there again. So, man, just multiple hits for those drivers. And, again, a common thing we see, a lot of side drafting, a lot of guys trying to get that run on the bottom. It's so tough to make the bottom work with the draft up top, and drivers are fighting hard on that bottom, trying to make something happen.
Absolutely. Also want to give note down to Charles Felt and Parker Bland, both with required damage. They have to come into pit road to get repair done. As we're back to live footage, drivers all getting pit stops finished up. It's going to be that of Warren Kyle Keith beating out of pit road. That's a major gain up there, Zach, for the 42. He able to take the lead under pit road.
Yeah, that was a major success there from him. And what it took is Muscarella a little bit sliding through the box, just a little too much for him, and he had to back it up. So 48 lost pit road, the race off pit road due to that, and now this is going to give Warren Kyle Keith the lead. And what we've seen, Muscarella, since he's got that lead, he hasn't really given it away. Now he's got the fight to get it back.
And you look at where the drivers are now, the top 10. Every single time a caution comes out, it just reshuffles up. There's a few drivers that are like, yeah, they've been up here all race long. I mean, you got that of Muscarella. He's been up front. You can also say that for Justin Winters. He's been up in the top 15 to top 10 for most of the race. Everyone else has been swapping in and out. In that of third position, got Daniel Michel. Ray Rogers has done a great job up to fourth. Dylan Hastings, great strategy call for that of Dylan Hastings, and also for Kip Easley, who both stayed out for older tires. Now they're on the same set and going to be able to keep up with the pace of everyone else. And you've also got Justin Winters in 6th, Garrett Brown in 7th, Kip Easley's in 8th, Joe Sanchez, and that of Shane Parrish going to be finishing out your top 10, with Austin Reedy just outside the top 10 in 11th place.
Yeah, I tell you what, Reedy hasn't been many times back that far in this series so far to kick off the year. And right here, after stage 2's been over, it's been a tough break for him after having that major slide. But that caution, it's brought everything back together. This is going to be his chance in that 96 to get himself back up there and possibly still compete for that 3rd victory in a row. And what a way it would be to do it under a bunch of adversity and coming back from that damage.
I mean, adversity can be thrown out to the majority of this field that have had some type of issue that has thrown them back. And some drivers that we haven't really touched on a lot, but they're in the middle of the field, still moving up through the field as well as they could. I want to give a shout out to Justin Erb in the 24. Saw him able to just scave through that last accident on the replay. Also that of Travis Stevens in the 2 and 15th. Been able to just stay out of trouble for the majority of this race, but it's in 16th place and also in 17th, where we find that Sean Kalis and also Bill Schoonover, 2 drivers. Yes, Bill Schoonover was involved in one of the incidents earlier, but up that of 23 laps so far as drivers getting ready to get stacked up and ready to go. But there's still some drivers in the middle of the field that have been involved in wrecks, Zach, and they've done a great job since qualifying to move up still that of over 10 positions or more.
I mean, we've seen just a miraculous climb through the field for a majority of these drivers. I mean, if you look at everybody here, pretty much all the way back to 22nd, only one driver started in the top 10 from there. I mean, 2, Justin Winters and Alex Muscarella. So, I mean, it has not been a good day if you qualified well so far, other than your name is Alex Muscarella.
Muscarella, Winters, both qualified in the top 10. They're hoping to stay in the top 10, if not a higher position. 28 drivers on the lead lap currently. It's going to be Dakota Curtis, Brandon Banks, James Kunkel, going to be those drivers right on the bubble. Outside, is still in pit road as Charles Feltz in 29th, 2 laps down, but like I said, still in pit road, most likely going to go another lap down. Zach Wilson, Steven Stimpian, Shane Wyatt, Ross Harlow, as well as Eric Stanford, Lawson Peel, and Austin Shoemaker going to be the drivers that officially DNF out of the race. But up front, we're ready to go racing once more as we are green, and it's going to be the SK Sim Racing 300, but it's led by a different driver here tonight. All started all the way back in 40th, now to the lead. It's Warren Kyle Keefe down into turn 1.
40th to the lead for the 42 machine, but look at this, Muscarella not trying to let it happen for long. It's side by side off of turn 2, but big run from behind. It's the 25, Daniel Michel. He pulls right up into the picture as these 3 were to break away from before. Now they're going to have a hungry group of drivers behind them looking to make moves.
And just like that, a great move by the 25, ducking it low, and it's Warren Kyle Keith. Not a good run for himself on the outside of that corner, but at the same time, they all just put on fresh tires. And Zach, the last time we saw fresh tires, it was in the first 5 to 6 laps in a stint where drivers getting loosened. Once more, it's happening behind. It's the 8 of Hastings that gets loosened from the field, and it jam-packs everyone. We stay green, but certainly that could have been a big one with the pack all around the 8.
To the front, Muscarella trying to save it up top. He had contact from Daniel Michel, and he saves it there as he comes off a force, somehow locking that car up, but track position is going to be out the window now as he drops throughout the field.
This is going to be terrible for the driver of Muscarella. He has not been this deep into the field all night long, and he's going to have to figure out how to dig his way through. But back up front, it's that of Daniel Michel. Started up in 38th position, up 37 spots in the lead for Kyle Keith, and more drivers further back having issues as Hastings parked on the apron on the back stretch. You see also the Kip Easley low and slow. It is pandemonium once again on these restarts with fresh tires.
Fresh tires seems to be the most dangerous point of the run for these drivers. Car on cold pressures, still getting up off the racetrack, and yeah, it can snap easily on you. See Kip easily, he had a big save there from him, but man, this has really broken up our top 6 here. Is right now all the way back to 7th. It's about 2.7 seconds separating that top 6, and nobody really on top of each other other than Austin Reedy making a pass on the 18 of Ray Rogers for 3rd.
And that's what's going on, as well as this group that's battling Parrish, as well as the 10 of Wyatt Brackett. Brackett's done a great job of getting into this and staying up front. I mean, the 10 had a major run for himself, but gotta say, for that of Shane Parrish, he's had some good runs up front. He was battling in their top 3 at one moment, door banging it with Austin Reedy. Still able to keep it clean for now, as you're seeing drivers sticking it to the white flag, running the middle lane, trying to find wherever the speed is. Right now, doing a great job. But behind Parrish, I gotta say, I don't know how he is still running and running as well as he is. No front flip not needed. Chris Shoemaker still running in 11th, trying to crack the top 10.
With no front in there, still trying to get it done. Like you said, he's got Shane Parrish directly ahead of him, and you know, the 11 of Justin Hendry there side by side with Wyatt Brackett. This is impressive to see the front ends of these cars gone and just able to still keep pace somehow. Definitely an interesting sight to see, but definitely something we've seen before also in the past year on iRacing. So definitely able to keep some pace right now is that for Chris Shoemaker, who right there floating with the top 10. You got to be happy with that, with the lateral a lot of damage on the front of that machine.
As they're running and trying to survive, this is the pack that if we're going to see a wreck, it potentially is going to be here. That's why we're keeping our eyes so close on this. Is Hendry, Parrish, they're close, almost like 3 wide there was the 4 of Shoemaker. And also behind them, you've got the 19. Joseph Maher going to be still racing. We've seen that 19 get loose so many times here tonight, able to hold on, loses so much ground, then gets back up in the top 15, top 10. He's going to do his best. Kept easily after his scare, still running up in the top 15. And then Alex Muscarella, 14th position. This is going to be feeling so demoralizing for a stage 1 and 2 winner. The 48 got a lot of work to do, but luckily we're coming up to that of seeing 61 laps to go here at Las Vegas.
Yeah, 61 here to go, coming up to that, and Muscarella trying to make his way back forward, but it's going to be a long climb for that 48 from that 13th position. You see he's pulled up into this group here along with Mahar and Shane Parrish there with Justin Hendry balance. So right now, this group here, 4.7 seconds back, almost 5 seconds back from our leader. I think Muscarella's going to need some type of caution to get back into this race for sure. He's had a lot of pace, but to do it by yourself is almost impossible in these type of machines.
It's hard to break away from this action, but we got to go up to the lead because it's side by side. Austin Reedy, Michelle, Warren Kyle Keith for the lead. It's Austin Reedy to the inside, clearing out of turn number 2. Warren Kyle Keith going to be trying to utilize the draft, but the 96, Zach, there has to be a horseshoe somewhere in that car because there is just no way he is still running up front this quick after the way that we've seen the 96 win at Daytona for the Daytona 500, win last week for the California 300, win both races, have the most laps led. He's going to be trying to go for win number 3. I think the most laps led might be going to the 48, but there's still a lot of time for that of Austin Reedy. Try to tack in a little bit more and maybe steal away that lead, that also award of the most laps led.
Yeah, what a way to do that again it would be for him in that 96 machine as he tries to pull away from this group behind. Is this going to be Warren Kyle Keith making the pass there directly behind him on Daniel in that 25 machine, and see if he can track down this 96 who's driven his way up into this picture here now after that big slide. And I tell you what a good rebound for him. As you know, Auto Club, it was pretty much smooth selling for him for most of that race. He stayed up front for a majority of it. Tonight, though, it's had to bounce back from some slides and some mistakes, and now able to take this lead late into going. And this is exactly where he wants to be if he wants to go for that 3rd win in a row.
And also, drivers watch out for Justin Winters, 88, and the 18 of Ray Rogers. They've attached to the rear end of this 3-car pack, turning into a 5-car group for the lead. Ray Rogers involved in that first wreck. Justin Winters has been involved in some accidents. They're still there. The speed is here. And I think that's what's crazy to think is that even with the damage, when this next gen, Gen 7 Cup car first came out on iRacing, if you got any type of damage, you could say that your race was done. You don't have a chance to race. we've seen some drivers up front that have damage still be able to run so strong. This is so impressive for the drivers that are up in the top 5.
Yeah, it's showing a little more that this car can take a little damage and, you know, go with it. We've definitely seen in the past, Sam, here on iRacing, this car, it would struggle from damage. You get a little crinkle in that fender and it would suffer. Right now, it seems like very much similar to akin to what we see on television on Sundays in the real life NASCAR Cup Series. These cars are very much, you know, they're taking damage and keeping going. They're not being affected by it as much, and they seem to be doing pretty well. As right now, Daniel McHale trying to hold on to that third spot as Winners is trying to close down for that. But Garrett Brown, he's done a good job here, Sam, and him and Joe Sanchez right here, all by the lonesome in 6 and 7.
Yeah, just riding their own race. That of Garrett Brown, Season 1 champion of the MPI Cup Series, trying to become one of the first drivers ever to try to become a 2-time MPI Cup Series champion. And Zach, I think that's one of the things we've covered a lot of different leagues and series here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Usually when you get, 4, 5 seasons in, you've seen some drivers win multiple times and have drivers that have 2, 3 championships when you're 4 seasons in. This is so impressive to see the evolution of drivers coming into the MPI Cup Series and just showing you never know who's going to be the next champion of this series. And right now, you're seeing great racing action for drivers for that of the 3 of Kunkel. This is all back for 16th and 17th for these drivers. They're trying to keep their pace right and high. And as well, I want to give an update. Mario Miranda has officially called it a night. Going to be 34th position for the 99 machine.
Yeah, going to bring it behind the wall there for him. Is like you said, James Kunkel there making the pass on the 4 Chris Shoemaker, but Shoemaker, we see him there battling for a top 10 position with no front end there. It seems like as the run goes on, that car tends to fade away as he's going to be having drivers behind him trying to go forward. But look at this, Muscarella and the 24 machine of Justin Irby here, all battling pretty strong here along with Shane Paris as Muscarella continues to try to make his charge forward. But like I said, you got to be in a group and a group that's going forward if you want to make up time.
As we're watching this is the battle for 10th place. Shane Parrish and also that of Wyatt Brackett. They're keeping it close with one another. And then behind them, you got that of Muscarella, Herb, Easley, and others just waiting to make the charge, moving up. Got to say, though, for that of Parrish, he's had a couple of scares coming out of turn 2. Somehow able to keep the positioning, but that 89, I'm concerned the longer this run goes on, how much damage is going to be on those right side tires with all the sliding that's been going on.
Yeah, a lot of sliding definitely going on there for sure. As we look at Wyatt Brackett here in the 10 machine, remember he went through the pit road exit there at one point, had to get that black flag cleared there, and had a major moment. So he's done a good job to position himself back up here, but does have a little bit of damage on the front end of that car he's still working with. So doing a great job here to be right on the edge of that top 10. Is right now it's really all the way up to that 8th position of Justin Hendry, where we see this group that drops all the way back to that 15th position with Sean Killis in that 43 machine.
List going to be doing his best to keep up the speed. Also, you have the 2. Trevor Stevens going to be riding currently, feeling good in 17th place. But also Jed Daniels going to be there. Another driver going to be calling it a night. Going to be the 8 of Daniel Hastings. And Hastings had a lot of scares, got into the wall, had some troubles. The 8 is now going to be calling it done. 31st position, but there's a couple of drivers behind him that's still out on track. So the 8 could lose down to 33rd position or more based on who decides to stay out on track. And Zach, we're now less than 50 laps to go here tonight. 200 laps was the distance. We've already know who won Stage 1 and Stage 2. That was the 48 of that of Alex Muscarella. As we're seeing the field running right now, this is probably the most spread out and probably the most just lull period we've been in all night long. It's been constant racing action, passing going on. This is the first time we're starting to see drivers just take their time and wait. But now, when do they need to come into pit road? Like you said on that last yellow, I asked you the question, can they make it from here? You said probably not. When is go time for pit road?
Yeah, that is the age-old question for sure for each of these drivers, that they're going to have to be making decisions pretty quickly, because we are within the window from, if you stop now, you can make it to the end of this race. So I would not be surprised to see a few drivers electing here past 50 to or under 50 to go here to hit pit road for the final time. But I'm imagining, I think that 165, 170 marker there with about 35 to 30 laps to go is going to be the way to go here. I think you're going to see a lot of guys try to stretch it to that point, not trying to get caught a lap down by hitting pit road. But we'll have to see. I mean, there's going to be definitely a mixed bag of strategies with how much is available there. You know, it's not able to do it on the full tank here, this full run. So you can stop pretty early to get right into that window quickly, or do you want to stretch it somewhere to that midpoint? Is right now it's our top two that are breaking away with Austin Reedy and Warren Kyle Keith, about a 1.7 second gap back now to Justin Winters, who's broken into the top.
Yeah, Winters has been able to make the pass on the 25, and now is really the opportunity for Justin Winters to try to utilize the draft, try to run down. But these three cars of Winters, Gel, and Rogers all keeping it close with one another, and side by side isn't helping their cause to run down our front two that are giving each other space and just running fast laps. Again, looking for when is the time to come into pit road. Do you run it dry? Do you do an undercut, which is pitting before everyone else? Find that sweet middle ground and come in there. This group continues to race on. I'm looking at some of the pacing, Zach. You look at the leaders. They have been putting down some screamer lap times. Everyone else, though, is starting to trickle down on the amount of speed. As Winters stays high, Rogers going to come down low, utilizing the draft to the inside, giving the advantage to the 25 and the 18. But this is it, Zach. I mean, the drivers at this point, they've been so split up with all the carnage of drivers wrecking or having issues that now you're kind of stuck in your pod that you're in, and you're banking on, I think, for these drivers further back, might think about coming to the pit road to just get tires so they can catch up to the leader and see if they can even try to hold off. But it's difficult at this moment to make the decision to come to pit road now, or potentially, I would say maybe lap 165, 170 could be a window that some of these drivers could be thinking about.
It definitely possibly is, because we have hit the plateau point, as we call here in iRacing. Other tires, they've evened out. Right now, our leader up front, Austin Reedy, a 31.38 last time by, and about 10 laps ago, he got into the 20s for the first time, and really has been anywhere from a 31.30 to a 31.20 from each and every lap. So right now is that point where we're running similar lap times over and over again. You could see a lot of guys decide maybe this is the time to come to pit road to gain as much time available on that fresh set of tires. But I tell you what, it hasn't let our front two get away from battling, because Warren Kyle Keith, he's drove up to the bumper of Austin Reedy, and he was starting to take a look, but didn't have enough to get to the inside as this battling back here continues.
As our leaders continue to race on, the question is, when are you coming to pit road? And as the questions linger, we're going to step aside for our last commercial break. When we come back, we take you to the end. Who's going to win the SK Sim Racing 300? Race number 3 of the MPI Cup Series. Battling for the lead, still there, but can Kyle Keith make the pass? You'll see, as it's non-stop action. We'll be right back in a few.
There is Max Papis in the Ferrari. As great a race as Ferrari has ever won.
The steering wheel for me has always been a sensitive spot. There's a whole experience there that we're all trying to refine. Max Pappas, he asked me one day, he says, what can I do in a wheel? I said, well, with the new
is that I own MPI, the steering wheel company, and I'm building the steering wheel. This is my creation.
This is yours.
Yes.
It's so sexy.
The steering wheel, it's a very unique thing. It's shaped on the hand of Scott Dixon.
His hand.
Yeah. This grip has 27% more grip feel than suede. Scott in the race is gonna make less effort when he drives. When you're in the car, it's like having 40-pound dumbbell like this, maybe more in the car.
For how long?
3.5 hours. Average heart rate in the car Never below 150. Never below 150. You need to be a real athlete to drive.
Yeah.
They exercise every day. So this is my creation. Amazing. And we did.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, to the MPI Cup Series, race number 3 for Season 5, as these drivers racing at Las Vegas for the SK Sim Racing 300. And your front two, it's Austin Reedy trying to go for 3 in a row to start the season off. Warren Keith trying to get his win this season. Your front two right on top of one another. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. Robert Moore running productions here tonight. And Zach, our front two, they've been keeping it close with one another, which means the mind games are going to kick in as we're inching closer and closer when drivers are going to come into pit road.
Yeah, I think that time is going to be pretty soon for a few of these drivers. And even I believe we've had a few takers actually hit pit road there while we were under that commercial break. So definitely interesting strategy call for a few guys out there. But it looks like even Daniel Michelle and Ray Rogers, they've dropped back to Joe Sanchez and Garrett Brown here back about 4.3 back.
Yeah, I mean, you're starting to see the differences of speed with that damage kind of starting to trickle in. We saw that with the, that of Chris Shoemaker. No front flip, just faded back so quickly. I think that's something that we're starting to see is drivers with damage. They just can't hold their speed as much once they get into major trouble for themselves. Here tonight, though, we do have 24 drivers still on the lead lap. Watching the battling for this of 9th place. You've got that of Justin Hendry as well as that of Justin Erb. The Justins battling for 11th and 10th place. And you've also got that of Maher and Kip easily going to be finishing out those drivers from 9th to 12th in this small little pack. This group, so we're on lap 167. Looking at some of the drivers trying to go for some of their best finishes just to start the season off. This is their goal. Try to gain as many points as possible. As we're watching the 11 get passed by that of Herb. Herb's trying to do his best right now to run up front. And Zach, I got to say, it's been a pleasure to watch these drivers run. Justin Herb needed this type of a race as the 24 is a driver that came in only as one start. And that was going to be last week at Auto Club, coming away with the 23rd finish. So needing a good run here tonight.
Oh, and look at this. Behind that group is Justin Hendry and looks like Joseph Mahar coming down the pit road here, and that's going to be with 31 laps to go in this race. And this is right where I expected the window to start to open up for drivers to come down, and it's starting to happen here at pit road. And it's going to be interesting to see what that top two elects to do, Sam. I mean, those two have broken away so far. They probably got to think they're probably going to deal with each other for the majority of the time, but we've seen Austin Reedy. He played the strategy last week at Auto Club. He wanted a little bit of gap between him and Mario Miranda and Warren Kalki. He took the 2 tires. That's what allowed him to get the gap. And, Warren Kalki's got to be thinking about that from last week. He was right there battling for the lead. Comes down the pit road, takes 4 tires, and ends up outside the top 3. That's got to be lingering on the mind of that 42.
And also, if you come into pit road, as Kip Easley, James Kunkel, they both come in this go around. If you come into pit road for that of Austin and Reedy or Warren Kyle Keith, you're going to be giving yourself at least 1 lap advantage ahead of everyone else. And so you're going to be hoping to get any advantage possible moving forward. And that's going to be one of the things for the drivers is if you come into pit road earlier, what we call the undercut, then you're going to be finding yourself with having about a full second faster than what your best time was. While you look at, staying out an extra lap, that's giving up a full second. Will you have enough time to run down that driver if you just give up 1 lap, or would someone have to stay out for 5 laps to even have advantages on their tires?
Yeah, that is the big question. I mean, and from what I've seen, the plateau point for the tires where they hit that even and out point, it seems to happen pretty quickly too. It seems like it's happening about 20 laps into the run. So, you're coming up here this time by here to be 28 to go. You got to be thinking about making something happen. And look at this, Warren Kyle Keith. He's actually searching for some type of victory. He moves up higher there, loses a little bit of ground, and that's showing me maybe losing a little bit of tire wear. Austin Reedy here, he's liking what he's seeing in his mirror. He's trying to stretch this out before the pit stop so he doesn't have that 42 within that toe. And really, he's got to break it about a 1.5 second gap if he wants to get away from that car from behind and not be able to pull him back up forward.
You might be wondering, why is there a puff of smoke on the straightaway? Well, drivers are in pit road. Some of them have blown engines, and that smoke trickles onto the front stretch. So if you're wondering what might have been happening on the front stretch, well, the majority of it is drivers just coming into pit road to get service done, as right now it's Austin Reedy as well as Warren Kalkeith, your front two. Joe Sanchez in third place. Garrett Brown going to be in fourth. Ray Rogers in fifth. And right now, the gap for a majority of the field split up from one another until you fall back to that of 11th place. That of 12th place, where you got drivers that are being passed by those that went a lap down or those that have already come to pit road. It's chaos back in 12th, where the potential of a yellow could be lingering if drivers aren't careful.
Yeah, that's the two of Travis Stevens back there, along with Chris Progar, Isaac Mock, along with even the 27 of Kip Easley, who's coming by on those newer tires. So he kind of got caught up in that group. But yeah, that group was battling pretty strong. But you can see Warren Kalkeith starting to lose ground to that 96. He's got to be thinking pit stop soon, Sam. If you're losing ground here, you got to be looking at some way to get an advantage on that driver ahead. And here it comes, this time pitting in, and it was Joe Sanchez from third who pitted the time before. And I think that's what's brought Warren Kalkeith down.
Warren Kalkeith going to be into pit road. Also following Sanchez was Garrett Brown, Danny Michelle, all coming in together in that group. Warren Kalkeith comes in, Ray Rogers following the 42 as those drivers come into pit road. We'll see how much they can gain. And Zach, looking at that of Warren Kalkeith, he has a much earlier pit stall than everyone else, so he's got to be very slow on pit entry. I'm wondering how much that's going to be hurting the 42, especially on the exit of these pit stalls. But we look back to the last time they had pit stops under yellow with Warren Kalkeith that was able to beat out after mistakes were made by Austin Reedy. And so there's a lot of looking on who's going to make the mistakes. As Reedy into pit road after one lap, and Reedy goes over. He slides through his box. Mistakes by the 96.
Yeah, big mistakes too. That was a pretty big slide and having to back it up pretty well. And we'll see, does he elect to take the two tires? No, he doesn't. So also Reedy going to take 4 tires after having a mistake. And it's going to be the 89 Shane Parrish who has the lead right now. Still not electing to pit from out front.
Well, now's the real question of how far can they go for themselves, as right now top 8 still have not come to pit road. Take that back, top 9, as that of Bill Schoonover still out there on track. But Parrish, Herb, Muscarella, Kalis, Progrard, Mock, Curry, Chris Shoemaker, and Bill Schoonover are going to be those 9 drivers still needing to come into pit road. And after the pit cycle, here comes the 89 potentially into pit road, getting slow, trying to lock it down, in a little bit of a wiggle, and able to at least get woed into the box, but could be caught speeding as Herb takes the lead. Zach, the battling for that of 10th, though, it's Warren Kalkeith that's in front of Austin Reedy by 1.2 seconds.
Yeah, Warren Kalkeith's got the jump on the 96. That slide through the box has meant everything. It is all, like you said, it's a gap there. So we'll see. Does Warren Kalkeith have the pace here? It's going to be coming down. Here's a 21 to go when they cross the line next time by. So, man, what scenes we just seen. Reedy making a mistake here, possibly taking away his chances for a win, but he's got some great pace. We'll see. Does he have enough to run down that 42 before this all plays through? Or do we get a caution to shake all this up? Because right now it's the 24 Irby out front. Muscarella, he's still out there. He definitely wants to see some type of yellow. But there goes the 42 of Warren Kalkeith. He gets his lap back. He's on the lead lap if any type of yellow comes out.
Herbs just came over the radio into pit road, expected for that of the 24. The 9 also extremely slow. Might be thinking about coming to pit road. There goes our leader, Muscarella, though. Gonna be potentially could stay out for another 2 laps, but it's gonna be stretching it for the 48. And the rest of the field also thinking about when pit road is due, and Muscarella staying out for an extra lap. Gutsy call, but sometimes it's what you have to do to try to stay in the game. Banking on a yellow is gonna be the 48.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be banking on something here to help him out. Last week, it was fuel mileage that got him to that top 3 finish. This week, it's been a stage 1 and stage 2 victory. And the pace has been there, but just that little mistake from earlier has pushed him back. And now He's looking for any type of way to claw his way into a great finish here, but he's got to be thinking about when does he come down to pit road? Will he have enough fuel? What is going to be going on through the mind of Muscarella? Because right now, Sam, you know, they pitted at 128, so we're looking at they can still go upwards of a 188, maybe even 190 here. So he could possibly go up to a whole nother 8 laps.
He's going to do his best. 19 laps to go. It's going to be that of Alex Muscarella trying to get another podium finished. And then you're going to have also find Chris Progrard, Isaac Mock, also that of Kalis, Curry, Chris Shoemaker. Going to be the 6 drivers still needing to come into pit road. As we're watching the drivers just roar around, it's the 42, Warren Kyle Keith, who's unlapped himself, currently 7th, with that of a 1.5-second gap lead. Yellow strikes, though, could not survive, and just like that, it all changes.
And that is exactly what Muscarella wanted to see, and it's happened. Kip Easley's on the apron there in the 27 machine, along Joseph Mahar, Daniel McHale. Multiple drivers involved in this one here, Sam, and this is really shook things on top of their head.
And this is going to be around McKell. It's going to be getting the worst of this one, battling hard between the 25 and also the 89 of Shane Parrish. And Zach, this is exactly what Muscarella and all the drivers that were in the top 6, they were banking on this yellow to come out. But here's the replay. What put us under yellow with less than 20 laps to go? Just missed timing. Thought that they were clear, were not. And that's the difference between drivers that are on fresh tires going up against, you know, those that are on older. Sometimes the timing and closing rates are different, and you're not always clear. And then the aftermath, that brings out the majority of everyone else.
Oh, no. And yeah, definitely. Big hits there from multiple drivers. Wyatt Brackett, Kip Easley, Joe Sanchez, even, I believe, in the 55, who was one of our earlier pits. He got involved in that also. So, major damage for a lot of heavy contenders.
Drivers that were up front, we had 17 drivers on the lead lap because we were under the pit cycle, green flag pit cycle. There were a lot of drivers still trapped a lap down. They're most likely going to have to take a wave around. But now the gutsy calls. Who stays out? Who's going to come into pit road to get service done? The 42 staying out. Zach, that's a gutsy call. Austin Reedy as well. It's everyone else. Shane Parrish, Joe Sanchez. They're going to be staying out on track, not coming into pit road. It's going to be all the way back to 7th, potentially, or even further back that are looking for those tires. And it's going to be 7th place. Muscarella, the freshest tires when we get this restart.
Yeah, and, you know, this takes me back to earlier in the race, around lap 48. Well, really, they made a pit stop around 48, and then the next group would make a pit stop around 69. They didn't make much headway in that stage earlier. You know, it was tough for them to, you know, make up the ground that they needed there. Warren Kyle Keith was one of those drivers, and I think maybe him noticing, like, tires aren't going to be that big a factor here possibly coming down the end, or are they? I mean, that's that's going to be the big question that all of us at home and up here in the booth have to ask. But these drivers, they've got it calculated. They feel like this is enough. But the big thing I got to look at is Muscarella there. He's going to be 7th, Sam. That is pretty far up compared from where those guys that were about 20 lap fresher tires earlier in this race, they started back in the 20s, and they couldn't make their way up before the stage ends. But I tell you what, Muscarella starting in 7th on those new tires. It's not the biggest difference as we've seen earlier in the race, but man, after a few laps and the heat and the pressure gets built up from this group ahead, it's going to be on for that 48. He's going to have to make moves quick because time is running out.
Well, the biggest differential of the drivers that are up front is going to be Warren Kyle Keith and also Joe Sanchez, both 11-lap older tires than Muscarella and everyone else that had just come to pit road. So that difference of having those fresh tires, it could be a major factor for everyone up front, but we'll see how it's going to stack up. I want to give updates to that of Wyatt Brackett, who was involved in this most recent incident. Going to be putting it behind the wall. Going to be calling it a night, as it was 26 for the 10 machine, and looking like it could drop all the way down to that of 30th on the amount of drivers that are still out on track for Wyatt Brackett. As we've seen a lot of big wrecks, it's been a tough night for some. We had 2 of our cautions were stage breaks where the driver in 7th place, Alex Muscarella, won both stage 1 and 2, then had a giant slide. We'll see how they can react. But Zach, that slide though for Muscarella, that's what I want to touch on. fresh tires. We've seen drivers that are just came into pit road. They've all struggled when they've on the fresh tires. Is that going to be the bigger disadvantage compared to Warren Keith and those that are on that are on worn tires? They're going to be up front.
Yeah, it actually will be a disadvantage here to kick off those first really 1 to 2, really maybe even 3 laps. The tires that Warren Kyle Keith, Austin Reed are on, they are much more warm. They cooled down definitely during this process of pacing here, but just a lot more heat than a tire sitting on pit road would have, and more air pressure. Air pressure is key for this. Air pressure always is going to make that car a little bit more on the snug side when it builds up. So they should have a little more stability as the drivers that have the older tires. But like I said, after those heat and pressures equalize and get to the right point, the newer tires will start to show its life. And there's probably just about enough time for those new tires to really start to come into effect. And it's from 7th on back, Sam. It's going to be all new tires. And even Justin Irby there, he's on about 5-lap fresher than the group ahead of him too. So great stuff for him there in the 24. He could possibly take advantage of this.
Gonna do their best up front. Who's gonna survive? It's going to be that of Austin Reedy, Warren Kyle Keith, Joe Sanchez, Shane Parrish, Justin Winters, Justin Erb. Gonna be those drivers on that as well. That of Chris Progrard. They're gonna see how well they can run here. That's your top 7. Muscarella, Isaac Mock, Sean Kalis. Gonna be your top 10. We're gonna be going to 13 laps to go when we go green. Can we make it to the end green, or will we need a yellow? But for the drivers here tonight, under this caution, their chips are down, the gambling has been placed. It's on who's going to win the SK Sim Racing 300, and we are green. It's going to be Warren Kyle Keith, already going to be having that of 3 car lengths difference between second place's battle of Joe Sanchez and Austin Reedy into turn number 1.
And look at that, Sanchez there behind is going to take that second spot, slide down in front of the 96, also Reedy, but off of 2. It's going to be a big run for that second position on back as Justin Winters in the 88. He takes the outside line. Austin Reedy stuck on the bottom lane as here comes the run from Joe Sanchez.
Joe Sanchez is going to be going right onto the back bumper, hoping for the best. Winters is going to go on the outside. Winters is going to have the best run out of turn number 4. Here comes the 88, charging by, trying to clear the 55, but because of that of Sanchez on the lower end, he can cut that gap. But into turn number 1, what type of run will the outside have as they've got some strong cars with some wiggling in the center of the corner?
Oh, big slides there, 24, Justin Erb. He saves it down there on the apron as now it checks up the field behind. It's a 4-car breakaway. This is what you want to see from the older tires. Yellow out in the field now as they wreck back there.
It was Chris Shoemaker. He did the same exact thing that we saw Erb do coming out of the corner. And instead of trying to stay low to save the car, overcorrected, came right back up into the front of the field. And that is a hard lick for the 4 who did not have a front clip. And this now is going to be putting us, Zach, less than 10 laps to go on this restart. For some of these drivers, they still have an extra set of tires if they want. But at this point, track position is more important than the wear and tear. And now we've set them up to see who's going to make it as they just wanted another chance to make things a little bit more dramatic here, as if needed, we do have overtime attempts. We got 3, but I would imagine these drivers don't want to get to that point.
Yeah, I don't think they definitely want to get to that point there, Sam, and they want to get this thing over with, especially if you're Warren Kyle Keith out front. I mean, some of the drivers like Muscarella back there in 9th with the new tires, along with Garrett Brown, they're up to 6th now, the farthest car on the brand new set of tires. They're saying let's take this thing into as long as possible, as many overtimes as we need to get up there. But man, it's been crazy. I mean, like you said, Shoemaker there, he tries to make that save, corrects back in the field, and actually nobody gets hit there. So luckily for everybody in the field, they all make it through. But Shoemaker there with the heavy addition to his already heavy damage.
That's Zach Hall giving us our radio call of how the accident came out. We were not given the clip of that incident, so sorry, there will not be a replay on what happened to that of Chris Shoemaker, but bringing out another yellow here tonight, 9th of the day, as we've had 7 on-track incidences. And I know earlier asked the question, how many yellows are we going to be having to the chat? And now the question is, who are you rooting for? Who's going to get the win? We've got ourselves 10 laps to go. It's going to be less than 10 when we go green. We've seen a lot of the fan favorites being wiped out, but there are still a lot of hungry drivers looking for a win. And as well, in 4th place, it's where a lot of the eyes are going to be wandering. Austin Reedy trying to go for 3 in a row to start out the season in our first 3 races. Zach, it's still possible for Reedy to do so, but everyone was loose through 1 and 2 on that last restart.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it first start with Irby there in the 24 machine. I mean, he got completely sideways, and from there it trickled on back. And we've seen it happen multiple times. And that was even from a few cars that had the tires already from taken from green flag stops. So just shows you cold tires can rear their ugly head at any point here in this race when you have these pace laps. And I'm looking for drivers maybe to possibly looking to build some heat up here, try to have the most heat up in those tires for when we go green here. But gotta also remember you don't want to have too much heat build up, because then you get to a point where those tires will start to fall off a little bit quicker. And here with what it looks like when we do go green, it most likely will be around 7 to go, I believe. So we got a few decent laps here to build it up. And if you're Garrett Brown back there on the fresh set of tires in 6th, you got to be feeling kind of nice about where you're sitting right now, and hoping maybe you'll be able to make something, because without that caution, it was a 4-car breakaway from that front group with all those guys getting loose and checking the field up. It would have been nobody's game other than that front 4, but now it's going to be anybody's once we go back green.
Who is going to get it done? As it's less than 10 laps, Warren Kalki, Justin Winters, Joe Sanchez, Austin Reedy, Justin Erb, Garrett Brown, Sean Parrish, also Zana Sean Kalis, and Alex Muscarella. Chris Progrard going to be finishing out your top 10. The rest of the drivers that are still on the lead lap going to be Justin Hendry in 11th, Ray Rogers in 12th, Isaac Mock in 13th, Bill Schoonover in 14th, that of Brandon Banks in 15th, 16th is going to be that of Travis Stevens, and then we finish it out with the final 4 of Brian Curry, James Kunkel, that of Daniel Michelle. Going to be those drivers in the top 19 that are on the lead lap. Dakota Curtis, Zach, he was the magnet for stage 1 and stage 2 involved with Rex. Still out on track. Last car, like going to be the first car, all 1 lap down. So he's going to want another yellow to potentially get back onto the lead lap to race here, as up front, they're stacking up and getting ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, great point there. I mean, just a survival race, if any. I mean, he's in the top 20 right now. He's in that lucky dog spot and in the 20th position. So you'll take that for sure. And he's had a rough start to the season, so he needs as many points as possible. And, man, with us getting it all stacked up here too wide, Warren Kyle Keith, he's in the catbird seat with that lead. But what we've seen is big runs from behind. And Justin Winters, he's drove himself up to that second spot. He's trying to have a chance to win this whole thing right here. And I tell you what, we definitely could be seeing a first-time winner this for this season here. But Austin Reedy can't look too far. He's in that 4th spot. If something opens up, we've seen him already take 3 wide passes to take the lead. We'll see who can get it done here tonight at Las Vegas.
If we look at the aggression from stage 1, it was that of Austin Reedy. He went all the way from where he started in that of 21st position and up to 5th in just 6 laps. And he was the biggest mover during stage 1 for the majority of that before the first caution came out. Can he get win number 3 in a row? Or will we have a first-time winner for Season 5 of the MPI Cup Series? Let's find out as the SK Sim Racing 300 is green once more. 7 laps to go. And if we get to 4 laps to go and a yellow comes out, we go into overtime. But for our front 4, front 5, single file out, they're heading down into turn number 1. And Zach out of 2. They got to be careful. That loose sensation kicks in. Herb's got to be careful as they're 3 wide out of turn number 2.
And here's the new tires. Garrett Brown on the bottom of the 16 machine, past champion here at the MPI Cup Series, trying to move his way forward. Muscarella into a car, and we have another yellow there. Or no yellow yet.
No, they're spinning. They're wrecking. It's going to be Curry and Kalis and many others piling in. And that's 6 laps to go. That's coming to 6. This could be an inside the regulation 2 laps to go with the timing of this yellow, but that is... It's taking out some drivers that were up front, and that is not the way you want your car to be looking there, Curry, as it is just completely crab-legging and trying his best just to make that thing go straight.
Yeah, and the 43 of Sean Kalis is where that all started around. Muscarella gets loose and gets up into him, and from there, Sam, I mean, it's like you said, Brian Curry involved in it, and just multiple difference here as we see exactly what happened to this 43 is, man, the 48, you see it right there on the turn, and just snaps loose and nowhere for Sean Kalis to go.
Oh, Kalis was doing everything possible. Gets up on that of 2 wheels, and at this point, just awaiting. Ray Rogers somehow sneaks by. Curry nowhere to go. Thought he could sneak on through. 77 comes on, and at this point, it is a wall, and you're hoping you're picking the right direction, and the 45 didn't. Gonna be collecting in with Curry and many others. Then there's seeing that of McDaniels and many others just piling in.
Yeah,
Well,
that's Jeffrey Ford there. So the 95 just, like I said, more piling in, Sam, and hard to get these cars stopped, but and we'll re-rack them once more, my friend.
yeah, I mean, in other, like, Gen 6 Cup, when the old Cup car, the Truck 650, we usually are here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting always preaching about don't be the ARCA brake driver, but these Gen 7s, the brakes just do not want to slow down sometimes, especially on these restarts. It's got to be demoralizing sometimes when you're on the brake and it just doesn't matter. Your car is still sliding.
Yeah, it's a tough deal for sure, and it's something we're gonna have to learn with this race car. I think, like I said earlier in this race, I brought up the brake heat. I think that's one key. If you build a little bit of brake heat in these cars, these brakes actually work very well as the bigger brake discs, more braking power, but it takes a little bit more heat for those pads to activate like they should, and yeah, sometimes you feel like an innocent bystander just recklessly driving into one of these incidents, and I think, like I said, it's just going to take time for us drivers to find that way to get heat into those brakes, so when we need to use them, they're available. So yeah, drivers out there really confused by, I'm sure, how the stopping power of this car, but it's something, like I said, that is a learning experience, and that's the beauty of us going to a new race car. It's already, I mean, it shook up this season so much from what we look at last season, the data that we looked at, really, it hasn't been much to read off of. It hasn't gone any way like the last car.
No, that's why we look at the last data. We're expecting, okay, these drivers did do well. And, look, if you look at the data and you look back at stage 1, Ross Harlow was doing exactly what our data was saying. He was going to be up front battling, and then calamity between himself, Mario Miranda, and also others. That's how the beginning of the race went. Up front, for the longest time, it was that of Muscarella that was up front. He'd also led a couple of laps at Las Vegas and other mile-and-a-half courses last season. But Warren Kyle Keith, I don't know what's causing him to feel like, qualifying isn't the most important thing. But this 42, every single time we get to this final stage where it's all about racing it to the end, Warren Kyle Keith is up front, a driver to watch out for. Joe Sanchez, another driver that's just trying to go for a great finish, potential chance of winning. And then Justin Winters, a top 5, top 10, usually just hovering around those positions. But the man who's been winning it all here in the first 2 races coming into tonight, Austin Reedy in 4th, going to be a driver to watch out for. A former champion, Garrett Brown, in 5th. And Zach coming to 3 laps to go. With the lights go off this time we are going to be inside of regulation to do a green-white checkered. And technically, that could give us 4 green-white checkers because the yellow comes out before we get the white flag. We'll go into overtime.
Well, for what we've seen tonight with the incidents on these opening laps with cool tires, I wouldn't put it past these guys to possibly have 4 attempts at this thing. I mean, it's a tough car to hold on to. If you're Warren Kyle Keith, you are saying, let's get this done, please. You're just really hoping you can get this race, get that white flag, and then hopefully you're the first one to cross the line to get that checker flag also. So, man, it's a tough deal. If your driver's behind, though, you're looking for as much opportunity to get something done. So definitely going to be drivers pushing the limit here. And when the limit gets pushed, that is when you see the incidents. And, man, Sam, I'm ready to see how this all plays out. Can we get it done under regulation? But if not, we got overtime.
Yeah, I want to quickly look at the weather just for a quick moment as we're going into turn number 3. We're about to go on this restart. But, Zach, the weather is insane. It is dropped, and the track temp is even colder. The cold tires. It is getting slick now where it is on ice. This is going to be where this restart can make or break. That's why we're starting to see the drivers get a lot looser. Up front, Warren Kyle Keith. It's going to be Joe Sanchez, Justin Winters, Austin Reedy, Garrett Brown, your top 5. We're ready. Who's going to get it done? The SK Sim Racing 300 is green, and this is our first attempt at that of a green-white checkered. We're not in overtime. We're still in regulation. If we get the white flag, we race it to the end. If we get a yellow, we go into overtime. It's all the 42 up front. Side by side, going to be for second place, but can they survive out of turn 2? That's been the trouble spot.
So far, 1 and 2, it's been everything for Warren Kalkeith. He's got it done. Right now, Winter's blocking the run. Here comes Austin Reedy down 3 wide into 3. He's making the big move. This gives Warren Kalkeith the room he needs, and they come out of 4.
Out of 4, the difference 4/10, and you gotta be a maniac to catch up to Warren Kalkeith, because white flag's in the air. It's your freaky fast white flag. They're side by side for second on back, but it's all the 42. Warren Kalkeith, he got the best launch possible, and they're running hard behind. They might start wrecking at it too. There goes Garrett Brown holding on. More drivers spinning and wrecking, and they're gonna be scattering behind on the backstretch, but up front by over a full second over that of Austin Reedy, it's Warren Kalkeith. Out of that at turn 4, SK Sim Racing 300 is yours for the 42, Warren Kalkeith.
What a job. Joe Sanchez up to second, and Austin Reedy not able to get the win, but another top 3 podium finish for that 96 machine. He'll happily probably take that. But Warren Kalkeith, 40th, the first, Sam. You don't hear that very much, man. That is a drive and a half, and what a job he's done here tonight to get it done. And he showed pace at Auto Club. He brings it here to Las Vegas and puts it on show once more for us again, and going to be a great points night for that 42.
39 positions from where he qualified. Didn't even qualify. Just left it to fate on where he was going to be starting this race. And for that of Warren Kalkeith, he now is going to be parking it, burning it down next to the sponsor. Hey, why not? You got yourself here as Warren Kalkeith gets to burn it down in a very great spot for the 42. We're going to step aside. When we come back, it's the post-race show. We're going to be talking to Austin Reedy from 3rd, Joe Sanchez from 2nd, and the 42 of Warren Kalkeith, our 2nd winner this season for race number 3. And this is going to be a good one. We'll be back in just a few here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Freaky Fast Broadcasting post-race show for the MPI Cup Series for race number 3 at Las Vegas, the SK Sim Racing 300. We didn't go into overtime, but we certainly had to use a green-white checkered there in regulation, and it was Warren Kalkeith getting the win. But we're going to start things off with one of the hottest drivers coming into the night. It's Austin Reedy with that of a 3rd-place finish here tonight. Austin, it wasn't a win, but man, still up front, still battling strong. How are you feeling after a 3rd-place finish?
Pretty good. A little nerve-wracked after that last lap, but still came out pretty good today. A couple things didn't go how I wanted to, but good race.
Yeah, Austin, definitely a good race nonetheless, man. And like you said, a couple things didn't go your way for you there all night long, but definitely a great bounce back. You know, this car looked really, really tough here tonight. It seemed that any moment on new tires, this thing was ready to break loose. Take us through that, because you had one major moment that you had to work your way back from.
Yeah, it was so loose out of the corners, and once it goes around on you, it just snaps. There's really nothing much you can do, and sometimes you get lucky and it straightens it up, but you always end up losing a ton of positions. But it's definitely very difficult to drive. I mean, going 190 in the draft and you got all those guys around you. We kept it clean for most part, but some scary instances out there, and it's a pretty good race overall.
I mean, overall, coming away with another podium finish. That's at least keeping one of your streaks alive here after our third race of the season. We're going into Phoenix next week. How you feeling about your odds going short track racing?
It'd be something new. I haven't done a lot of short track racing in this particular car, but it's definitely not my strong suit. Definitely a lot better on these mile and a halves, and but put in some practice to see where we're at sometime next Sunday.
Well, Austin, before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, I gotta thank MTC and TJ Seam, Humor Designs for the paint, and Wyatt down there at Fast Banana Racing.
That's going to be Austin Reedy coming away with a third place finish here tonight for that 96 machine. Austin, congratulations on a podium finish, and good luck going into next week.
All right, thank you guys.
As now we bring in second place runner. That's going to be the 55 of Joe Sanchez. Sanchez started all the way back in 14th, comes away second, 12 positions up. Joe, what a run for yourself, coming away with a second place finish there. But what else could you have tried to do there on that last restart?
I was hoping he would take the top there. That was really the first time I had run the top all race, and didn't really know how my car would handle up there. So I think if I could have gotten to the bottom a little bit better, would have helped me out a lot. But it was a long race. I had missed the driver's meeting, so I had to start at the back. Started 42nd. I made it back up to like third by stage 2N, and then got some damage in a little wreck and had to go back to 30th. So made it from the back to the front twice. So I'm pretty tired, but all in all, I'll take a second place over the luck I've had the past 2 weeks.
Well, Joe, I tell you what, great drive, man. And Zach here also up in the booth, man. Congrats on getting a top 2 finish here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And like you said, you had to work your way from the back, and you did a great job to do that. But we see drivers here tonight catch multiple times of damage on the right side of their car, getting those fenders a little tore up. You actually had a little bit of right side damage there that you alluded to. How much did that affect the car here tonight, and how well were the crews able to fix it up? Because we've seen a lot of guys with damage actually perform pretty well there coming down to the end.
Yeah, so I got damage on that 81 spin coming out of 4 right after second stage restart. Kind of drifted and got really tight coming off of 4 and kind of just slapped the wall. It was only around about 30 seconds, so I was able to at least repair that on that caution. But I thought it would make the car a lot tighter, and it really didn't affect it too much once it was fully repaired. So I got to be grateful that that's all I got, and was able to charge back up to the front.
And Joe, 3 different races, different racetrack types. We're going into Phoenix next week, short track racing. How you feeling about that track?
Typically with the old car, I really liked flat tracks. So Phoenix and New Hampshire, I was really strong with. Not so much confident wise with these yet on a flat track, just due to the left fronts constantly locking up. So definitely going to need to work on some practice laps with that. But typically flat tracks I can run fairly well, so I feel pretty good on that. I don't know how these will handle transitioning below the dog leg. They might get really loose, so we'll have to see how that kind of works if we even attempt to go down there. But we'll try to run this momentum up to the front.
We're excited to see how it's going to go down. But before we let you go, Joe, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Like to shout out my teammates Lawson, Daniel, and Brandon Banks with Drinking Bros Racing. Really good group of guys that we push each other really hard and work well together. I'd like to shout out the sponsors I got on the hood, Our Rescue, a nonprofit who's really working hard to stop, help allude to the human trafficking problems we've been having throughout the world. So a really good cause. So I was hoping to be able to get them up in victory lane, but I'll take a P2 for them.
A podium is always great, and it's good to have a good cause to shout them out. Joe Sanchez, 55, coming away with second place finish. And congratulations, Joe, and good luck going into Phoenix next week.
Thanks, guys.
And as we go from second place, we bring in our winner, and he's just on the uphill climb. 16th place finish at Daytona, 4th place finish at that of Auto Club, and now victory lane for Warren Kyle Keith. Warren, how you feeling after getting the victory here, bud?
I'm ecstatic. We started P40 today, and finished in first is, what a game changer. Man, just what a finish. Getting really energetic there. Hell of a job to Austin and Joe. They were really had quick cars, but man, that restart, just I don't know how I did it. I was able to keep a flat foot for the first time all day in 1 and 2, and it somehow stuck, and we held on for it.
Well, Warren, I tell you what, man, congrats from Zach, from myself, Zach, up here in the booth. You drove the wheels off that thing today. 40th to first place. I mean, even last week, 36th to 4th. I mean, 2 races now in a row, man, where you've shown, race winning pace. I mean, how does that feel to come out of race number 3, where you come off Auto Club and Las Vegas, where either one of these races you could have possibly been sitting in victory lane, but luckily here tonight you are in victory lane, man. How does that feel to kick off the season here, especially with a new car?
It feels great. If we could just figure out the qualifying pace, that'd be even better. But it's just momentum. Daytona was Daytona. We led a lot of laps there, which I'm happy about. Auto Club had good pace, and in here we showed a long run pace again. So just figuring out the long runs is really key here, especially in this league where everyone tries to keep as green as we can. It really does pay off, and I'm just glad to get a win. First time since last season at Kansas to finally have one, and to get Alex's first win as a team owner, I'm pretty sure he's ecstatic about it, that too. So really just can't thank everybody for this around TOW and SKM. That whole group of guys really does put all this together.
Oh, we saw you're running Pennzoil here tonight. At what point was it coming across the line? Before that, did you know that you're going to go to the Pennzoil spot on the track and go do some burnouts there?
All the way back at the beginning of the race, I said if I, the long shot that I might win this, it would be a good photo op to do a Pennzoil burnout. But no, it really got cemented there coming to the green, white, checkered. I've got a good couple of restarts on my belt. I was like, I can kind of catch these guys off guard. Just got to keep it good through 1 and 2. I got this. And once I got through 2, I was like, that's it. We got it. It's a win. Because they were 3 wide back there. I don't know how that ended up, but yeah, coming off 4 and definitely that green, white, checkered, it was like, you know what? If I win this, I'm going to do a little Pennzoil burnout. So I'm glad we got it.
Well, you got to have fun, and for us in the booth, it was a pleasure to call. But before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, I'd like to shout out the whole TOW SKM crew. All of us over there. Congratulations to Alex. Get yourself a team win as a team owner, and I'd like to thank everyone that supports me, especially my family. And now that we're on Facebook Live, it's much easier for them to watch it. Hey, everybody! So thanks to them, thanks to everyone, and thanks to Dakota for putting this on every week. Really can't have these kind of races and fun just without someone wink, wink, paying the bills. But yeah, just thanks to everyone there, and let's do it next week at Phoenix.
Phoenix is next week, and that's going to be your winner here tonight. Warren Kyle Keith getting the victory done. Congratulations on that, and good luck going into Phoenix next week.
Thank you, John.
Well, Zach, certainly a wild race of unknown calamity. We started with 42 drivers on track, and it dwindled very quickly after we got halfway through this race. It just turned into chaos as we get our unofficial results up on screen. But Zach, what a race it was here tonight, and it's Warren Kyle Keith getting the victory done.
Yeah, Warren Kyle Keith there getting that victory, man. You're gonna have Joe Sanchez there. What a drive for him, just a great job for a rookie, and rookies are just really showing out for me, man. Had a lot of them showing a great pace, and it's continuing to show here again. But I mean, you even gotta give a shout out to Chris Progrard there, top 5 for him. I mean, what a night for him. Just looking at the list, if you can see where all these guys started, it's kind of crazy.
I mean, you look at Isaac Mock. I mean, he had 2 very scary slides that somehow he saved. He's coming away with a 7th place finish. I mean, incredible to watch, but we go even deeper through the field. There's a lot of disappointment also in all of this. Kip Easley, honestly, you can go from that of 24th on down. those are all drivers that were running well here tonight, and were just caught up in messes either of their own doing from getting loose, or someone else just overcorrecting and being involved as an innocent victim.
No, we've seen it multiple times tonight. I mean, you go back as far as look at where, Ross Harlow and that incident with him, Mario Morinda, at the beginning of this race. That was a big, big moment, and it also was just something that, normally don't see happen that much up front is those incidents. But this car has really shown that at any moment you're not safe, and these things are a handful, man. So I can't wait to see what else more we have until for us this season, how much this car changes, because again, it's an ever evolving thing. So man, I can't wait, because next week we'll get a little bit of short track action and see how well those brakes actually do work.
Well, that's the thing. There's an iRacing update that we're expecting to come up that's going to change this car coming up this week, and we're excited to see how it's going to change it. Phoenix is next week, and Zach, I know there's not really much information we could take off of that, but as we could see the upcoming schedule, tomorrow night we're going to be having ourselves Watkins Glen Racing in the trucks for the NAISCC Truck Series. Then we're also going to be having the underdog drivers finally going to Nashville Super Speedway. And then that for the Stars and Stripes Series, tackling a course they've never gone to before. It's Gateway for Worldwide Technology Raceway, and excited to see how they're going to be tackling that Saturday nights. We're on an off week. We'll be back March 24th and on Sunday. I know it says Las Vegas, but we're going to Phoenix next week. I'm going to be missing out of the booth, but we're going to be bringing in Brian Johnson to be joining us for that call. But Zach, what's your final thoughts here tonight as we're cleaning up our broadcast?
Well, man, final thoughts are just congrats on Warren Kyle Keith. 40th to first. Personally, from a broadcast standpoint, I don't think I've ever seen that. So that's a first for me up here in the booth of someone going 39 positions from where they started. So shout out to Warren there in that 42 machine. He's shown some really good strength so far to start off this season. And then also I can't wait for next week, man. It's going to be Phoenix. That's a really, really good track for this car. I think it's going to put on a great show, and I can't wait to call that action alongside our good buddy Brian Johnson and hear what he has to bring to the MPI Cup Series, man. So we'll definitely miss you up here, Sam, but it won't be too long. You'll be back up here with us too.
And we'll be back in 2 weeks, and then we'll get back to more racing action. Can't wait for it. But for tonight, thank you for joining us for that of the MPI Cup Series, race number 3 for Season 5. It was the SK Sim Racing 300, and the car on screen got it done. Warren Kyle Keith from 40th to the lead to get the win. Congratulations on being the second winner this season. Will we see a new one next week? We'll find out. But if you want to see more racing action throughout the week, we'll see you tomorrow night. It's the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. And if not, we'll see you next week for Phoenix here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Have a great rest of your night.